Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and I'm doing a live show. I started a bit early. It's like 15 minutes early. I was thinking, should I read my comics or should I start the Q&A? And I decided to start the Q&A early because I didn't want to get into the comic groove and then start. So that was the plan. So I'm just waiting for you guys to come. So far, there's 0 viewers. And to get the Q&A started, we got to get some questions in. So hopefully we get some questions soon. I'm going to set up the page, make sure everything's going. I shared everything on Twitter. I'll probably go over what's going on with the channel once I get some initial viewers. I don't want to talk about it until I do. It seems like there's viewers because I got 3 likes on the comment I did, which I always do. Ask me questions in the comments below because, that always helps. All right, so let's see if you guys have anything on Twitter. Yeah, if you guys want to ask through Twitter, you can do that also. But it's probably easier if you do it through the comments below. It's always easier. So we'll see what's going on with that, and I'll explain. Oh, we do got comment here. Awesome. So once we get the questions started, we'll start. I just don't know how YouTube works because even though I get comment, oh, here we go. Now we got 2 viewers. Because even though you get comments, sometimes it takes a while for the viewers to be set. So I want to, get a good amount of viewers before I start everything. But yeah, please ask. Oh, there we go. We got 4 viewers now, so it's getting up there. So definitely ask in the comments. What's going on. Media questions, whatever you got, you can ask me, and I'll keep going until my voice dies like it usually does with these Q&As because it's always just me. I'm wearing my Teen Wolf shirt, so that's always fun. So yeah, these Q&As usually kill my voice, but I have seltzer water right here. So I have an extra bottle. Hopefully, well, not even extra. It's just like a little bit left. Hopefully that'll help with my voice as we answer all these questions. It's been a while since I've done a Q&A. I did a Q&A for Like Father, Like Daughter, and hopefully once the book gets a bit closer, I'll do another one. But we're still working in production with the book, so I'm really excited about that. Of course, once we get into the groove of the Q&As, I'll talk more about Like Father, Like Daughter, what's coming up for the channel, what's coming up for Frontline, all that fun stuff. So why did I decide to do a Q&A is because I had a long week with finals, especially this weekend. I was up until like 6 o'clock in the morning studying, and crossing my fingers I did well and everything, hopefully. And I was like, you know what, let me do something to look forward to. And I wanted to do Q&A. Usually I do Q&As for when I get like 1,000 subscribers. Every 1,000 subscribers, I usually do a Q&A. I probably will for 6,000 also. Always do something special, give something away during the Q&A, and do kind of like this, but this is more of a chill Q&A than the 1,000 landmark Q&As I usually do. But looking forward to that one. Hopefully that'll come soon with 6,000 subs. That'll be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to the new year. It's gonna, a lot of great stuff happening. Planning some interview stuff for this channel. For Frontline, same thing. We got some stuff lined up, so we're looking forward to that. Just doing more collab videos. Didn't really have a chance because it was such a busy semester. I took 18 credits, so that was interesting. I had an internship, so that was fun. But yeah, it's been a busy semester. Like I was saying before, finals killed me. But I'm finally on break. On break for a while, so I'm gonna binge some shows, which I'll probably get into as Q&A goes on. I got to catch up with some shows, and I hear some good new shows that were good I want to catch up with, like Blackish I want to watch. How to Get Away with Murder is another one, and then catching up with other shows, which again, as Q&A goes on, I'll talk about that. But yeah, just chill and working on the YouTube channel, which is always good. And then I have about 20 books to read this week, so that's going to be fun. It might be up Thursday, or it might be up Friday afternoon, usually it's up Friday night, my reviews, but it might be up Friday afternoon, depending, so I'm a bit busy on Friday, but we'll see. Trying to read those. Also got Legend of Korra Thursday night. It's supposed to premiere on midnight, and that's the series finale, so I'm going to try doing that after Media Madness whenever we do that. Hopefully I'll have my reviews done. If I don't, I'll figure it out from there. So we'll see. All right, so we got 9 viewers now, so let's see if there's any questions, and we'll get started. And then, of course, I'll babble more about my channel and everything, so don't worry. Hey, yeah, we are starting to get some questions here. All right. So let's start with Alan Mullins, who says, so you think the rumors are true that Hawkeye could be on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? I think, you know, that those rumors are probably spreading because of Mockingbird, because if you guys don't know, Mockingbird and Hawkeye were married at a point, then they got divorced. It seems like Mockingbird does that a lot in the show. But I don't know if Jeremy Renner would go on a TV show. I mean, from what I know from him, he's more of a movie actor, so it'd be a lot of money for him just to be as a cameo on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So I do not believe the rumors. I don't think Jeremy Renner would be a cast member on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I just don't think it'd be enough money for him, especially probably the paycheck he's getting for Avengers. So I do not see that happening. And honestly, I really don't like Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye. I don't think he fits the character that well. But that's just my personal opinion. So, yeah, I don't know if I would even want to see that. I like the characters that are on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I don't really like Hawkeye of the cinematic universe at this point yet. But I can't really determine that because we haven't seen enough of actual Hawkeye. But, yeah, you know what I've seen from Jeremy Renner? I haven't been totally impressed. So that's my opinion on that. All right. Let's see. More questions. So Anton Malovich said, have you read all issues of Amazing Spider-Man from issue 1 and so on? If what do you think about the change of storytelling from the 60s and nowadays? I have not read every issue of Amazing Spider-Man. I have a lot of the older issues, especially like the Mary Jane stuff. I've collected some great ones from, I don't know, the 80s, 70s, but I do not have those old comics. I have not read. I think I read the first one like digitally because it's pretty easy to get. Just, a reprint of that, but no, I have not read all the way through. But I do have a humongous Spider-Man collection. I do have every issue from like 400 to 600, I would say, or 500 to 600. No, 500 to 700. I would say, or like late 400s. So I do have a lot of the Spider-Man comics, but the older ones are a bit harder to get. But I do have a good amount of issues of the older ones, mostly of Mary Jane stuff, because I'm a big fan of the Mary Jane and Spider-Man relationship. So, and one day I would love to get Death of Gwen Stacy, but that's a lot of money too. But no, I do not have every issue. But of course, it's changed. I think it's just, changing in the modern times. A lot of the ideas they tackled then had to do with that time period. Now we're tackling subjects that have to do with this time period. And I honestly think the stories have gotten better. It's less wordy. It's just more complex, I think. So, yeah, I think Spider-Man has drastically improved, but there's obviously some great storylines from the old days, like Death of Gwen Stacy, or, all these awesome stories, Venom, Carnage, everything. All these heroes we know, like Green Goblin, or all these villains we know, like Green Goblin and Dr. Octopus, all evolved from the earlier Spider-Man comics. So everything's just evolved. So that's the answer to that question. All right, we got 17 viewers. That is pretty awesome. So just keep going away with these questions. Love them. All right, so let's see. Geekness Overlord said, what issues are you looking forward to the most in January, and what do you wish to get from them? January, I guess the month of January, I know Ant-Man's coming out. I'm pretty excited for that, just for the return of Cassie Lang. And just all the comics that are already being published, just seeing where they go. Maybe we'll get the finale for Hawkeye. That would be nice. Miss Marvel is really good. I want to see what happens with Spider-Verse, which I think is ending in January, I think. Don't quote me on that, but it's not ending before that, before 2015. So looking forward to seeing what's going on with Spider-Man, where Spider-Girl goes. And that's just Marvel stuff. DC also, just what's going on with Convergence. I know that's not January, but that's beginning in, I want to say March is issue 0. So we're getting close to that. There's just a lot of stuff to look forward to next year. Secret War. So definitely a lot of stuff. All right, so let's see what other questions we got here. And, loading with YouTube, we'll see how that goes with these questions because I always hate the loading here. Oh, we got a lot. All right. All right. Night Dragon X, have you read any Lady Death, Vampirella, Chastity? If so, what do you think? And what do you think of them? And are you going to pick up X-Men 92? Lady Death, no. Vampirella, no. Chastity, no. X-Men 92, am I going to pick up that series? I'm not a humongous fan of the 90s cartoon. Like, I like it, but it was a bit before my time. I was born in 94. So I'm actually a bigger fan of X-Men Evolution. I know that's a sin to say, but I just what I grew up with. So, probably not, but it kind of looks interesting. Maybe it's a light week, I'll pick it up. But if it's like a really big week like this week, I have like over 20 books, probably not. But it's cool for the people that really do like the cartoon, which I think it's a great cartoon. But I know a lot of people like the cartoon more than I do. All right, next questions. Hey, Comic Uno, if Marvel gets back the rights to Spider-Man, what do you think of Logan Lerman as Spider-Man? I'm actually going to do a topic video on the whole Spider-Man Sony thing this week, so I don't want to talk too much about this, and I'm sure I'm going to talk other places about it too, just because it's huge, not just comic news, film news, regular news. It's just a huge thing, especially stuff that's been announced today. But going back to the Spider-Man thing, Logan Lerman, I probably don't want to see him. I don't know. I don't think he fits as Spider-Man. I remember, I feel like he was rumored when the original Spider-Man was being casted, Andrew Garfield. So I think it's just another rumor. I remember Josh Hutcherson was rumored then too. And I think he did a whole video to become Spider-Man. But yeah, I don't want that. I want Dylan O'Brien. Still sticking with that. Okay, next question is from Harry Bean. Have you checked out Thunderworld this week? It's what the old DC was pre-Nuke 2. It was awesome. No, because I do not like Multiversity. I was actually debating over it if I should get it because I am a Captain Marvel fan. But I was like, you know what? I have not liked one Multiversity issue, so why am I going to get this one? And again, what I was previously saying, I got over 20 books this week, and that's usually a bit of a limit for me, and that's already a bit much. And the past couple of weeks has been like a neutral amount, about 14. I could deal with that, but once it gets to the 20 mark, you got to start thinking what you want to drop. And Thunderworld was one of them. It's just that conscious thought of not liking Multiversity as a whole, so I just decided not to get it. All right, let's see if we got any more questions going. Just keep going with the questions. This is how this continues. So, and then towards the end, I'll talk about my channel and all that. So definitely stick around for that. Oh yeah, there we go. We got some more questions. Okay. Next question. Scotty Showman, how do you think a fight with Thea and Laurel will go down for Arrow? That's a good question. I think Thea would win. I mean, I don't think Laurel's trained enough. Maybe if Laurel had like a canary cry, things would work out. But I think what we've seen from just last episode, The Climb, she's got some moves with her Mick Jagger, or not Mick Jagger, hammer pants. I don't know why I said Mick Jagger. With her hammer pants, I think she's proved her power set. But no, being all serious, I think she's trained with Malcolm for 5 months straight. Even though like she's not the best fighter in the world, she's not Oliver level or Sarah level, which she did kill Sarah. She's still able to do archery, sword work. I think is probably her best thing, and Laurel's not up to that par yet. I mean, I don't know if she would even win a boxing match at this point. That I hope we see. Hopefully, we get to see some boxing matches with Laurel. As the season continues. But yeah, at this point, I think Thea would win. Like, hands down. Maybe like Ra's al Ghul, like one hand behind her back. That'd be pretty cool. All right, next question. Do people stop you in real life and recognize who you are and ask to sign anything? I've gotten that at conventions. I've gotten like people want to take pictures with me, which is like cool. It's pretty cool. But not like walking the street. I've not gotten people say, "Oh, you're Comic Uno." Maybe one day, but no one's ever asked me to sign anything, which I don't blame them. But once the comic comes out, I'll be signing those, which is kind of cool. But no one's asked me that yet. So we'll see as time goes on. But usually conventions, people do recognize me. All right, let's move on. Just a comment from Lamar Daggerwolf says, nothing wrong with loving X-Men Evolution. It's a great show. Totally agree. Any new shows on Netflix you're checking out? Just binging wise, I kind of want to check out. I've always wanted to check out Gilmore Girls, so I might do that. But there's just shows I need to like catch up with, like Homeland. I haven't watched any of this season yet, so I got to catch up with that. The Americans. I promised myself I'll watch The Vampire Diaries. The Fosters kind of look interesting. I might try that out. I'm watching Our Girl now, which is a British show. Almost done with that. Like an episode, it was only like 5 episodes, so I started binging that. Yeah, there's a lot on my list I would like to check out, but I'm going to try catching up with those other shows first. But I would love to binge some shows during this break. It's definitely a goal. I think True Detective also I wanted to check out. But yeah, I'm gonna go down the list and see what I want to watch. All right, let's move on to the next question. Got it loaded. Yeah, so just keep going with the questions. I see some replies from the thing I said, so I'm gonna go back there. All right. Isaac says, what was your favorite mid-season finale out of Flash, Arrow, Gotham, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? I've talked about this a lot on Frontline and Media Madness, so if you want extended conversation on that, go check out Frontline actually from yesterday from our live show. It's called Arrow, Flash, and S.H.I.E.L.D. I think it's about like I want to say about the 40-minute mark we start talking about it, or 50-minute mark. Same for Media Madness, actually. We talked about it there. So, but I will answer you which one was my favorite. Arrow was my favorite. I didn't watch Gotham. I'm not really planning on watching Gotham. I watched the premiere, didn't really like it. Same for Constantine. So I'm not really watching those shows. But Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was awesome. That was my second favorite, and third favorite was Flash. But all of them were like almost 5 stars. So besides Gotham, because I didn't watch it. So, good question. All right, next is Miko Pella. So what do you think about all Spider-Man news leaks? Again, I'm going to do a topic video on that, so I'm not going to talk about it here just because I want you guys to watch that video. So someone recommended it, and I'm just going to talk about it there. So I'm not going to talk any Sony news here. All right, next question. Anton Malvijisk says, have you read Green Arrow and Black Canary series from 2007? Yeah, I did. I read it even before Arrow. It's a good series. Judd Winnick, I read all of Judd Winnick's run and that series. I have all the trades, so it's really good. I like it. Okay, moving on. 20 viewers, that is pretty cool. Answering these questions for there we go. Okay. This question is from Night Dragon 669, who says, thanks for answering my question. I have a few more, of course. Number one, what is the most you've spent on one comic? And in bulk for me, it was VF. VF with Blade issue 1. I paid $10.40 for a sealed long box. So answer that question, I don't know. I really don't. I have some cool comics in my collection. Like I have a really good condition of Iron Man, Demon in the Bottle. So I have a good, the older comics I would say I spent more money on, not the modern comics. Like I won't spend a lot of money on a variant, although I still like kick myself for not getting that really cool Kitty Pryde variant. I don't even know what issue it is, but it's like her evolution of her costumes. Shit, it's so got that. Never did. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can answer that. All right, let's move on to number 2. Are you a big anime? Are you big into anime? If so, what's your favorite anime? No, I'm not. I'm not an anime fan, really. I watch stuff here and there, like Digimon I really like, Pokemon, like all the really generic ones. I hear Death Note's really good. Maybe that might be something I binge during this break. But yeah, I'm not a big anime fan. I probably would watch more of the generic stuff. I had to watch Attack on Titan once for a podcast. That was okay. You know, I understand why people like it, but I don't know if I would continue watching it. But yeah, so not a big anime fan. All right, let's go on to number 3 from you. What got you into comics? Also, do you watch any DC anime movies? So let's do number 3 first. My dad got me into comics, actually. I was really young when I got into comics. He read all like the Silver Age DC stuff. So that's how I got into comics. He used to read them to me, and I got interested. And I think the media also got me interested with like shows like X-Men Evolution, just shows I grew up with that were superhero related. Static Shock is a good one also. So I would say also the Spider-Man movies, X-Men movies, all that. So that got me more into Marvel, but, stuff that got me into DC and older DC was my dad. So overall, my dad got me into comics. To answer your other question, Night Dragon, do you watch any DC anime movies? Yeah, I've seen most of them. I've seen pretty much all of them. I review all of them too. So when Aquaman comes out, I've actually have interviews with the creators of the Aquaman movie. So check that out from New York Comic Con, and Matt Lanter, who voiced Aquaman for that, I have an interview from. Check that out. But yeah, I do watch the DC anime movies. I've reviewed, I would say, the last 4 or 5 of them. I used to not review it, then you guys told me, like, oh man, you should review it, and it seems like you guys really do enjoy it. I get a lot of comments on it, which I always feel is important. Not always determines if I'm going to review something or not, if I get a lot of comments or not, because I want to hear your guys' opinions, and that's the reason I do the reviews. So, yeah, for DC anime movies, do I love them all? No, but, I have a select few. I think the recent ones haven't been great, but especially the earlier ones, I do really enjoy. Like Wonder Woman is really good. Batman Under the Red Hood, the list goes on. All-Star Superman, I think, is really good too. So I do watch them. All right, let's move on to the next topic. All right, it looks like another Sony one. Oh no, it's just Spider-Man related. Omnitron says, what do you think of the odds are that we could see Marvel get TV rights to Spider-Man? They already have TV rights for Spider-Man, actually. They're just not doing anything with it because most of the stuff is cinematic related, so they don't want to do a Spider-Man show because Sony owns it. Now, this might change after this whole Sony stuff, but they already have the TV rights. If they want to make a live-action Spider-Man TV show, they could have. They have the animated show. Spider-Man's owned by Marvel, so they already have it. All right, next question. A-Rock, 135 Tennis says, did your class like the Comic Frontline documentary you made? Yes, they did. They really did enjoy it. They didn't really know a lot of the YouTube stuff I did, and they were very impressed that I had a comic book, so that was pretty cool. Haven't got my grade back for it yet, but I'll let you guys know. All right, next is Jonathan Patino says, I like your shirt and you're so cool. Thank you. All right, next is from Omnitron. Have you read Dynamite Comics Pulp Hero series? Nope, never read any of them. Not really interested in the Pulp Hero stuff. But what I do read from Dynamite is kind of the older TV show stuff. Not $6 Million Man, but Bionic Woman. That's pretty much the only Dynamite title I read. And when they did announce that Heroes was going to get a comic, but I guess they just threw that to the side because they never talked about it again. It's been like 2 years. So, but yeah, only thing I read is Bionic Woman, but I love that series. It ends up being my top 5 a lot. So, all right, next question. Miko Pella says, will you do an update of your comic collection? Yeah, probably not. It took me a long time to do that, and it was only about a year ago, so what you see with the comic reviews is what I got in my collection. I don't really get as many older comics. I get trades here and there, but I spend most of my money on the newer comics, so there's not going to be an update for a while. It's really a hassle to do hold the camera. That's why it took me so long just to do that one collection video. I was getting questions over and over again to do a collection video, and I have my collection like right in front of me, which is so funny. But yeah, so I've gotten questions here and there to do it, but it's really hard to get the boxes out and then have the camera and talk about everything and also shuffle through the comics. But every January I do organize my comics, so that's when I get the boxes out and put the new comics back into the box. So still not going to do it because, again, there's not really much of an update because it's all the comics I'm already showing you with the reviews. So no update for a while. All right, next question. Oh, wow. Okay. which is like a big update. Okay, Alex Wolf, will you still watch Once Upon a Time, review it, even with the Frozen story arc? Yeah, I will, definitely. You know, I'm not totally caught up with Once Upon a Time. I still have to go back to some of the older seasons, especially the Little Mermaid story arc that I still haven't seen. But I will review it, even though I started watching it because of Frozen. Even though I couldn't review the last episode just because the finals did not have the time to review it. But I did watch it. I actually watched it last night, the episode, and I would say the Frozen story arc actually ended a little bit disappointingly. It just felt, it's like, oh, that's what we spent all season to lead up to. So that was a bit disappointing. But overall, I'm actually really excited to see this villain story arc, and it seems like we're gonna get more of a focus with Regina, which she's my favorite character. So I'll definitely be reviewing it. You know, sometimes I end up skipping some reviews for Once Upon a Time just because of the time. It's always on at 8 on Sunday, but I am going to have a bit of a lighter semester next week because I just had so much this semester that I was able to have a lighter semester next semester. So I should be able to review a bit more. So yeah, to answer your question, I will be reviewing Once Upon a Time. But yeah, when I don't review Once Upon a Time, I know there's some shows where I just like stop reviewing, and usually I tell you guys on Twitter why I stop reviewing it, so follow me on Twitter. But Once Upon a Time is just one of those things where it's a weird time, and every once in a while I do have to skip a review for it. All right, next is Omnitron. What is your opinion of Doctor Who? I think I get this question every Q&A. I don't watch it. I've never seen it. It looks interesting, but just seems like you gotta have a lot of knowledge to get into it. Maybe one day if someone like sits me down to say, check out Doctor Who, I'll watch it. But at this point, I hear it's great, but I just never gotten into it. Lamar, any video games you like this year? You know, I'm not a big video game person. This is another question I get a lot. I'm not a big gamer. I used to be, like, early days in high school. I used to play a lot of video games, especially like from Xbox. Now I really just have a select few. I'll play Super Smash Bros, Call of Duty. That's pretty much it. I have Disney Infinity I haven't even played yet. I know I've had that for a while. It's just time. It's really hard. So Resident Evil is also one I'll play. But mostly just Call of Duty, which I haven't had a chance to play the new one, even though I have it. I haven't had a chance to play it. But with Super Smash Bros, I have played the new one. So I guess Super Smash Bros is my favorite. All right, let's move on. New Wars versus New Trek. Your preference? I'm not really a Star Wars or Star Trek fan. I follow it. You know, I have not seen every Star Wars movie, so I'm guessing that's what you're asking, if I'm like a fan of the new Star Trek movies or the new Star Wars movies. So I like the new Star Trek movies as like a sci-fi thing. I like it as a sci-fi movie, but I never watched Star Trek previously, and I know the Star Trek fans don't really like it, but I just like it as like an action movie, and I usually just see it as that. And then Star Wars, I'm really excited because it looks good as just a film. I'm just not into those franchises that much, but I will catch up with the whole Star Wars movie stuff. I've been saying that a lot, as I have not seen every Star Wars movie, but I will. I'll catch up. Promise you guys before the movie comes out. Kenny Samarkudis, Samarkody says, I know this is off topic, but what are you studying in college? I am a communication, and you can go check out the Frontline documentary, which I say this also. But I'm a communications major and a journalism minor. All right, next topic, next question. I always say next topic because of Frontline Live. I always do the news. I'm like, next topic, let's talk about that. But next question. Is the Omnitron 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 says, do you think DC should focus more on making new characters instead of drastically reworking everyone in the New 52? You know, that's actually a really good comment. I agree. I think they should. I don't really like some of the remasters they've done, like Batgirl. Like, why did he have to revamp her? Even though I'm so torn with that series. If you follow Frontline Live and just my reviews of Batgirl, you know that. Tim Drake, I think, is horrible with the way, in just Teen Titans in general, the way they revamped him and them. But yeah, I agree. I think they should do some newer characters. The only one they've done recently was Baz, and they don't even use him. I don't think I've seen Baz in the longest time. So, or Baz. so yeah, I think they should, because I think that's something Marvel has been doing really well with Miss Marvel, Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen. I mean, these are their top tier characters now, and most, Miss Marvel gets more digital copies than physical copies sold, because a lot of the younger kids are reading it, or teens and young adults are reading it, and I think that's a big importance also. So I think Marvel's been doing great with that, and DC needs to step their game with the newer characters. All right, let's see what's going on with the next question. Next question is from Comic Book Fan 1992. What's your favorite comic of 2014 minus Thor and Superior Iron Man? We are actually going to do something special for Frontline. We're going to have a Frontline award show, which I think we've already announced this. So we're going to talk more about our favorite books there. But that's combination, so I'm definitely going to talk about it here. My favorite books, I think I have a list because we had to come up with it. So I can tell you, it's hard because I read so many books to really think about everything I read, like what was great, what wasn't. Favorite new series, you asked, I think? Yeah, favorite comic of 2014. I guess you're asking new series. So my favorite new series, I have Miss Marvel, Miles Morales. Just favorite ongoing I wrote was Miles Morales, Batgirl, Invincible, Revival, and Miss Marvel. That's my answer to that. Hold on. My mom just got me hot chocolate. That was awesome. Thank my mom for some hot chocolate here. That is a way to get a live show going. Dunkin' Donuts hot chocolate. And I think in my reviews I had Dunkin' Donuts hot chocolate too. Their hot chocolate's like amazing. Much better than if you made it yourself. It's so watery. Dunkin' Donuts. I'm not advertising them. Just really do like their hot chocolate. All right, but going back to it, yeah, those are my favorites. But Superior Iron Man's great, and Thor's great too. I'm not a Thor fan by any means, and I really do like this current series. So, yeah, I've said that. I can't get into Thor. I can't get into Captain America, but and there's just certain characters I can't get into. But Thor is actually really good that I think anyone could get into now. All right, Omnitron says, do you think Once Upon a Time should have more horror characters show up, like Dracula, or more legendary characters like, oh, yeah, like Merlin or King Arthur? Hell yeah, they're running out of Disney characters. I still miss Red Riding Hood. She needs to be, sorry, that scared me. She needs to be in the show. I loved her character. She was my favorite, and that's like why I started to get more into it. And then I started like Regina, like Emma. Henry's getting on my nerves, but he's gotten a little better. But yeah, let's see that. I hope they do that in the future. As much as I love them doing the Disney characters, it would be cool if they do more of the horror characters. I think Dracula is public domain. I'm not sure. So if he is, that's really easy to get the rights for too. All right, let's move on to the next thing, which is Jeremy Renfro says, hey, Kat, have you read Injustice? And if so, what are your thoughts on it so far? I have read Injustice. Go check out the reviews. I've done most of the reviews for year 3. I think it was like 1 or 2 issues I didn't do because I had to like catch up with it. But I have read Injustice. I think it's a really cool series. It's too bad that they're ending it. Here they're officially ending it now, which we talked about actually on Frontline Live this week. That they are officially ending it, but it's also around the time that they should. The game's been out for 2 years. As much as I like the series, I think it's more because of Tom Taylor writing than anything. And now he's moving on to other titles. And I still think he should do an indie book, create your own book. And hopefully he does in the future. Tom Taylor just has a great future for him. But yeah, I've been reviewing it, so definitely go check it out. All right, next comment. Okay. Omnitron says, do you believe the rumors about Marvel rebooting the X-Men out of Earth 616 and making Inhumans be the replacement? No, I definitely do not believe that. I think that's the rumors of what's going on with Fantastic Four, which I don't know if I even fully believe it has to do with the movie. It might just be like a thing they're doing. I don't think it's gonna officially end for that long. Fantastic Four. But you never know. I don't think that's gonna happen with the X-Men though. That's just way too popular of a franchise to replace with Inhumans. I don't even know if it's doing that well, book wise or sales wise, and maybe it is. I'm not sure. Like, don't quote me. I have no idea. I personally don't read it. But no, I don't see that happening. There's too many popular characters there. All right, next comment is comic book fan 1992 just says you really should watch Doctor Who. I will. I'm sure I will, and I'll love it and like can't stop watching it. Hey, that's my fear, is that I'll love it too much and there's so many episodes, and I get very addictive with television and I want to finish everything except Once Upon a Time, which I haven't finished. But yeah, that I just have so many shows on the list, and then there's newer shows that come out. It'll happen one day. I can't promise, but I think it will. All right, let's move on. Scotty Showman, what was your comic book story arc that you really enjoyed this year? It's a good question. I was most excited for Spider-Verse. I don't know if I most enjoyed that, but I was most excited. I don't know. I would say there's just like series that I really enjoyed, like Miles Morales. The Invincible story arc with robots really good. Miss Marvel just in general is awesome. There's just so many great books, and I've read so many good books. And then I read a lot of bad books this year, especially those weeklies. Those went down very quickly. So it's a good mix this year, definitely. All right, next comment. I love that I'm getting so many questions. Thank you guys. Okay. Kennedy Samara Cody says pretty much like Lois Lane or Iris West. I don't remember which that's for, but definitely let me know which comment that was for. Isaac Gazmarian. I butchered that name. Thank you so much for answering my questions. So I have two more. Awesome. What do you think of the possibilities of Teen Titans TV show? No possibilities. It kind of, I guess, is possibilities. They've already announced that they're working on a Titans show. It's not going to be called Teen Titans, so they're going to be older. And if Titans does well, I don't see a Teen Titans show happening. It's just too repetitive. But I am hoping that the show does well. And it's on TNT. Like, all the shows announced this year excite me more than what was announced last year with Gotham and Constantine, except Flash did excite me, and I love the show. But there's more that excite me this year, like Titans and Static Shock, I think, got announced for something totally different. And Supergirl. Super excited for Supergirl and Titans. So overall, just to see Nightwing, I mean, the only thing that's bad that we're getting so many shows is that I feel like they're oversaturating the market, and I don't want to see that, because then good shows, will be like, oh, another superhero show, and then people are going to get tired of it. So that's my only fear. And then if you have a Titans show, Roy Harper's on Arrow, there's just all these different characters being on different shows, so many different universes, it might get confusing. So, I mean, there is a negative with the positive here, but I'm really excited for Supergirl and Titans. And I think I have more faith with Supergirl just because of the creative team. But I'm also excited for Titans. All right, next question from Isaac is, what comic book TV show would you like to be made that is not already in the process? I think everything's in the process, right? Spider-Girl, that's easy. Spider-Girl. Let's get a Spider-Girl TV show. I would like to see a Miss Marvel TV show. That'd be cool. Miles Morales, that'd be awesome. I know I'm naming all Marvel stuff. But DC already has everything. Like Green Arrow's like my dreams here. Bat Family TV show, that'd be cool. A Stephanie Brown show, or like Stephanie and Tim show. So that's what I'm thinking of. But I'm sure there's going to be other stuff that we'll be excited about that's announced. Okay. Jeremy Renfro. So what is one of the worst comics or story arcs you read so far this year? I'd have to go through it. That's a really good question. I would say just the weekly series have been pretty consistently bad. I would say Future's End more than anything has been really, really consistently bad. Batman Eternal is like up and down. Like sometimes I'll have a really bad issue, and then like some of them will really impress me. So that's probably the highest of the weekly series. Then World's End has been pretty disappointing also. So I would say the weekly series have been disappointing me, but there's a lot of bad books out there too. Just like last week, there was just a bunch of bad books. You get the bad with the good. And you know, because I review so many books, you're gonna get bad books, you know. But yeah, I can't think of top of my head like what was the worst of the year. I like to think positive. That is a good question. All right, Omnitron, how much do you think the Thor I can never say that. Ragnarok movie will affect the cinematic universe? I think that one's gonna affect the least. I mean, because you have Captain America: Civil War. I think it's just to make a Thor sequel. And again, I'm not a big Thor fan, so I really can't tell you what to expect because I really don't read the Thor books at all. But I actually like Dark World as a movie. I didn't love Captain America: Winter Soldier. I know that's like a sin to say, but I'm just not a big Captain America fan. But yeah, I don't know if it's gonna change the cinematic universe that much because we have all these other movies that I feel like are gonna be more game changers. But you never know. It's a third movie. I hope it's not like Iron Man 3, but I think it'll just be a building block to what's coming. Try and think of when it comes out. Obviously, Age of Ultron comes out first, so I don't know. All right, let's move on. All right, next is from Night Dragon. Have you and Frontline thought about doing a YouTube channel of the week where each of you pick a comic YouTube channel and help promote it and build the YouTube community? That's a really cool thing. If we did do that, I think we would do on Comic Frontline more than my channel. But yeah, that would be really awesome. I have to tell them about it. I think it's a really cool idea. You know, we have a lot of videos right now that we're planning, just, you know, comic-wise and covering news-wise. So once we get that, you know, all set and going and that we feel like we're getting in a good groove, maybe we'll do that. You know, we don't want to put too many new projects online, though, because we just want to make everything perfect of being the best site for breaking news and just comic reviews. So we're going to focus on that first, but I think that's a really cool thing to think about. Yeah, maybe one day. Scotty Showman says, props to Mama Uno for Dunkin' Donuts hot chocolate. I agree. That was a good surprise. The Omnitron 1 through 5, I'll say. What's your opinion on Teen Titans Earth 1? I did a review for that on Comic Frontline, so definitely be sure to check that out. But just to, you know, mention it here, but if you want more info, go check out the review. It was okay. I liked it. You know, it could have been better. It was a bit cartoony in a way, but I think I gave it like a 3.5. Wasn't bad. Wasn't like something you should go out of your way for. I don't think you should get the hardcover. I think you should wait to paperback it or just get, you know, a cheaper price because $20 is a bit much. But I would say like maybe like $15 to $10 would be worth it. And I do like the roster for Earth 1. And I think it has possibilities. It just like kind of ends on a cliffhanger. So it's like, oh, but now we're going to have to wait like 2 years to find out what happens next. So it would have been a better just comic than graphic novel, I think. All right, moving on. Red Wolf, what are some of your favorite and least favorite comic books of all time? Favorite, of course, Spider-Girl, Spider-Man, DC, Batgirl, the Stephanie Brown series, Green Arrow, the list goes on with good comics. Bad comics, I don't know. I didn't like Marvel Knights Spider-Man. That just comes up in my head that I did not like that issue. I'm looking at right now, Big Time Spider-Man. That wasn't that good either with Alpha. That was weird. Yeah, that's what I can think of from the top of my head. Good question, though. That's like, those are the questions I'm gonna have to like sit down and like look through my whole collection to remember what was good and bad, which is hard. All right, next is Kennedy. I'm just gonna say Kennedy. What is your theory on the big reveal of Harrison Wells may be the Reverse Flash on the Flash TV series? I think it's cool. I mean, I think there's more to it. I think he is a Reverse Flash, but there's another person obviously helping him. Jay has a theory it is the same person that attacked Harrison Wells, but I think it's Eddie's grandfather. That's the other Reverse Flash. But the person that was there during Barry's mother's death was future Barry. And I think it's going to get very confusing with the timeline. So I wish the Arrow / Flash writers luck. All right, let's move on. Next question. What's your opinion of Marvel and DC comic events that have come out this year? And do you think the big two are going event heavy for just wondering? And that's from Tevia. The events that came out this year, DC, I think had Villain Forever Evil this year. That wasn't too bad. I like that. And I'm just talking about events, not like character events, because there's been a lot of those. Just like pure DC events or / Marvel events. I did not like the Marvel events at all. I haven't liked a Marvel event in a really long time. Original Sin, did not like, even though a lot of people did. It just wasn't my thing. I thought it was too dark, and there wasn't enough character development there. It's just really just, oh, who killed the Watcher? I don't personally care who killed the Watcher because I'm not into Cosmic Marvel. And then we had Affinity, which I couldn't even finish. And same for Axis. I couldn't even finish it. I did not like it. So I don't really like the events, and I agree, Tevia. It's been a bit too event heavy for Marvel. DC, no. DC, I think, has been pretty good with the events, and I don't mind character events, but when you have a big event and everyone has to get it, say that something actually happens like they did with Forever Evil. But with Marvel, they're just like spinning out these events, and like in the end, nothing really changes. So like Axis, like everyone's out of character. What's the point of that? I don't know. I'm going to go into an Axis rant, so I don't want to do that. I could go on an Axis rant, which I've had in the past. All right, next question is from the Omnitron. Since Flash is getting a movie and still having it, still having a TV show, do you think DC and WB will allow the CW to use Batman or Superman for an episode, or maybe just Nightwing or Superboy? I wouldn't want to see that, I don't think. Nightwing already, he's going to be in Titans. Superboy, I don't know. But I don't want to see Batman or Superman. They already have. Bruce Wayne's in Gotham, so I guess that counts. And I'm sure maybe they'll make a reference to Clark in that new Krypton show, which I'm not excited about. But that's a really good question. I personally hate that they're making a Flash movie with Ezra. I don't even know his name. He's from Perks of Being a Wallflower. I don't think he's a good pick. We already have a TV show. Why do we need a movie? Who would go see a movie if you get it for free on TV? I don't know. I obviously have to see the movie because, superheroes, I always review all the superhero movies. But I don't know if a regular person would want to go see it. Maybe if you're a big Flash fan, I think maybe some people will get confused. They're going to think it has to do with the TV show. Especially if you're just not into comics or movies, and people are going to be like, oh, I saw the TV show. It's really popular. Let me go see the movie. Who's that guy? Where's Grant Gustin? So I hate that idea. But, going back to your question, I think it gets way too confusing. That's the one thing I do like about Marvel, even though their shows I don't believe are as good at this point, because all they have is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but that's improved tremendously. But I do like Arrow and Flash a bit more than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., even though I love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But yeah, I do. I mean, there's only one show for Marvel. We can't say anything until Agent Carter and Jessica Jones. Really excited about that. And Luke Cage and all that comes out. But Marvel has a bit more of a neatness to it because of the cinematic universe. You all know what's in the cinematic universe, what's not. Like their cartoons are not, but kind of are at the same time because they're using characters from the cinematic universe and popular characters. So yeah, I think DC is going to have a hard time with their audience and trying not to confuse them. And that's going to be a big problem. But I think Arrow and Flash won't be affected by that. It's just going to be all the other shows. All right, let's move on. Wow, it's already been 47 minutes. It's crazy, but that's awesome. All right, and my throat is still good. If I go down, there's a lot here. All right. A-Rock, do you plan on creating new characters for like Father Like Door to expand the universe, and when does issue 1 come to print? As of right now, I have the 10 issues planned, and there are going to be new characters that come in. It's not going to just be Stephanie, Wes, and Casey, Vulnerable, and Jessica. It is going to be other characters, and as you build a comic, of course, you just got to introduce more characters. So I will. When is it going to be in print? We're focusing for February, so hopefully then, at least to get it out to the people that backed it up, and then plan to get it out for everyone else. But it's still in production, but our goal is February. All right, next. Kennedy said, I said Lois Lane and Iris West when you said you wanted to be a journalism as your major. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm a journalism minor. Which one do I want to be? Or you're just saying I should be both? Yeah, I'm going to be Lois Lane and Iris West. That'd be fun. Greg Tomer says, have you ever dressed up as a superhero? If so, who? For Halloween, I've never like cosplayed, but like, you know, get like from the Halloween store. I dressed up as Supergirl once. That was kind of fun. But yeah, I usually don't dress up in costumes. I'm not really a cosplayer, but you know, for Halloween, every once in a while, I'll dress up as a superhero. That's always cool. But yeah, I think Supergirl is really the only one I dressed up as. Maybe Batgirl once. I don't remember. It was a while ago when I did. I was like sophomore year of high school, I think. So, all right, next. TV Little House Comic says, how would you end Spider-Verse? Bring everyone back that died. That'd be my ending. You know, I think they're just thinking what Dan Slott's gonna do. I think they're just gonna kill the Inheritors, and you know, it'll just be an epic team up. I don't know if there's gonna be any big ramifications for it, but also I think the Web of Life is gonna change a lot. The meaning of the Web of Life and the role it takes in Spider-Man. I think that's gonna be something that happens in Spider-Verse. Hopefully, there's a bigger role for May when she gets back, and you know, her parents are alive. That'd be fun. And not fun, but good. So, yeah, I don't really know how it's going to end, but I think this is more just to have this epic team up than to have big ramifications. But hopefully we do, and hopefully it's not like mostly every Spider-Man dying, which I don't think is going to happen because Gwen goes back to her world. Doesn't seem like a lot's affected. So I do think these alternate universe characters are going to remember what happened, but hopefully go back to their world unscathed. I don't know. All right, next question. It's from Omnitron. If you ever make another Avatar series somewhere down the line, or if they ever down the line, what would you want to see from it? That's a really good question. I mean, at this point, it doesn't seem like they will, but it is a what if question. I would like to see a different bending style. So, I mean, from the main bending style. So, like, Aang was an airbender originally, and that was like his culture. And Korra was a waterbender originally, and that was her culture. I would like to see, I think they focus a lot on earthbending here, of the culture of earthbending, and I would like to see maybe either the culture of earthbending and firebending, the main focus as the Avatar. I think a girl Avatar would be cool again, see where that goes. I thought it was really fun to see that with Korra. But I don't know. I don't know what I would like to see. I think Korra is such a great show, and it was a great continuation, but where do you go from there? Do you continue 70 years later and, you know, make Mako 80-year-old man? Like, I don't know where you go with that. Would you connect it to Korra? Would you connect it to Aang? Some people are saying to have Avatar Wan have his own series. I don't know if I would want to see that because I feel like they told the story they had to tell with those 2 episodes as much as they were great. I don't know if I would want to see Avatar Wan series, but that could be an option, me going back instead of forward. Maybe having one of those middle avatars as the main character. So that would be kind of cool. All right, moving on. Anton says, have you seen Buffy, Angel, Firefly, or Dollhouse? If you do, find any of them good. I've seen all of them pretty much. Buffy, I love. It's such a great show. Angel is one of my favorite shows of all time. I actually like Angel more than I do Buffy, which is a sin, but I'm a big Cordy fan. So, and I also want to make sure that no one replied anywhere that I'm missing any comments. Hold on. Dollhouse, I had to actually watch for a presentation. I've only seen like an episode or so. I was never complete. Oh, yeah, we did get comments here. I had a feeling. Okay. Let me go back to your question, though, to Buffy. Got to find. Yeah. Firefly, I have seen, but it's been a really long time since I've seen it. But I liked it. I thought it was fun. I think it's a bit overhyped. I know people are going to kill me for that. I do think Firefly is a bit overhyped. But if you like Westerns and sci-fi, you're going to love it. I don't love space sci-fi as much, so maybe that's why I feel like it's overhyped. But I thought Serenity was a great film. You know, it's just a great way to continue the series and end the series. And Dollhouse, I heard got a lot better, but I didn't love it. But, you know, I love Angel and Buffy. And so let me go back to the bottom to get those questions that replied to my comment about asking questions. So this is Tevia saying, what is your opinion of Spider-Verse? I think it could be better. I think it's a bit cluttered at the moment. there's a little bit too much going on, but it's also epic in a way to see all these Spider people come together and, you know, getting Spider-Gwen because of it, getting May to see May again, even though her parents died. It's always sad. But yeah, I mean, I like it, but I think it could be a bit better, and I hope it ends on a good note. All right, next question from Tevia. What's your opinion of the Hobbit movies compared to Lord of the Rings? I've never seen either. I read the Hobbit book for freshman year of high school, but I've never seen Lord of the Rings, never really had any motive to go see those movies or The Hobbit. They're just extremely long and it just doesn't seem like my taste. So I don't have opinion on either of them. All right, so let's move on to the next thing. So I wanted to go down there just to get those comments. Okay. Mount Vernon Kid said, ready Korra series finale this week, K-Girl. Am I ready? I don't know if I'm ready. I'm going to try going to see it right after Media Madness on Thursday because it airs midnight on the line, which I think is really smart because just, you know, the feels. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready. I'm excited. Don't know if I'm ready. All right, next, which is Tevia. What is your opinion on Ultimate Marvel Universe and as a whole, and do you think the Ultimate Marvel Universe should end? As a whole, I love the Ultimate Universe. I've been reading it for a really long time. You know, Ultimate Spider-Man, I read for a really long time, and then I like Ultimate X-Men. I liked Ultimate Fantastic Four. And should it end? I don't want it to end. I mean, I think Miles Morales' story would be really ruined if it ended, because where does he go? Does he fit in the regular universe? And you lose that supporting cast and, you know, the story Brian Michael Bendis has been telling for over a decade. So no, I don't want it to end. I don't know, maybe just because I'm like a huge fan of it, I don't want it to end. But I see the possibility of it ending just because these canceled series that didn't do well. But why not bring back Ultimate X-Men or Ultimate Fantastic Four? I would like to see that. All right, next question is from Mount Vernon Kid. Cassie Lang's return. Did you like how she came back? Yeah, I did an Avengers World review for that, just to see her return. I thought it was a bit of a cop-out the way she came back. Like, Dr. Doom's all nicey nice because of Access, which, again, I have problems with Access, but he's all nicey nice. And why did he pick Cassie? I understand she's like a young girl. He felt guilty about it, but he's done so many wrong things. Why Cassie? As much as I love Cassie's return, it was a bit of a cop-out. But I'm really excited for her to return Ant-Man and just for that story. So I'm just like shaking off the cop-out and just loving that Casey's back. All right, next. This is, I'm not going to pronounce your name right. I always pronounce, I think it's G-Man. That's how you pronounce it. G-Man, I think it is. What's up, Kat? Nice job on getting through finals. Thank you. Ami Sean, do you think DC is going to use Convergence to semi-reboot the new 52? Yes, I do. I do think they're doing it. I mean, they canceled, what, 16 titles? None I've read, so didn't really affect me, but they're planning something with Convergence. I think they are going to do a mini reboot, and hopefully it just fixes the things they've done wrong with Superman, Teen Titans, and they know that they've done wrong with them. So hopefully they fix that. And I think there's a possibility they will. Or maybe they'll destroy it more. Who knows? All right, let's move on. Next is from Night Dragon. Have you read any Firefly or Serenity comics? I read, I think, 1 or 2 Serenity comics, but I didn't really love it that much. Again, it's been a really long time since I've seen Firefly, so I just didn't really connect to it. But I have read them. Again, they just didn't impress me. All right, next. Rebecca says, do you think Oscar Isaac can pull off the role of playing Apocalypse? I don't know much about the actor, so I can't really tell you. That's all I can say about that. I don't know much about the actor. Next is from Sky Showman. For some folks think it's weird to see themselves on camera. Is it funny for you watching your videos back, or do you enjoy it like your viewers? I think it depends. I mean, sometimes I'll like watch Comic Uno episode just like get what I was saying about a comic is like, oh yeah, that's what I thought. But then there's other times where it's like, I don't really want to rewatch my video. So I tend not to rewatch them, especially once they're posted. I just like leave it unless someone says there's something wrong with it, and I'll rewatch it. But I mean, I love being on camera, I guess, just as a camera presence, but I don't really like rewatching myself. Unless maybe it's like Mother Versus, I'll rewatch it just because that's like an episode of myself, and not really my reviewer self. So I guess yes and no for that. All right, next question. Isaac, sorry if you have not already answered this in another video, but what comic book movies are you most looking forward to? Yeah, just a simple, quick answer for that. Civil War, of course, I'm excited for. Justice League, to see what happens. Batman vs Superman, to see what happens. I'm more excited for the TV shows, though. I always have been. Even with the Marvel movies, I think sometimes they could be a bit overhyped at times, and I never feel like I want to rewatch a Marvel movie. That's just always just me, because my favorite character has never been in a Marvel movie. It's usually characters I've never been interested in, like Doctor Strange. In Guardians of the Galaxy, as much as I thought it was a great movie, I don't know, for me, I would rewatch it, just because there's no characters I love in that movie. But yeah, I'm always more into the TV shows because it's more serialized and you get into the characters more. But movie-wise, yeah, Civil War I'm excited for. Captain Marvel, super excited for that. Just to get a female superhero. Even though we've gotten it, I'm saying in the new modern superheroes. I know people are going to correct me on that. And I've said that before. It's like, oh, but there have been female superheroes. Like, no, in the modern stuff, after Iron Man. So yeah, there's a couple I'm very excited for them. All right, next is Matt Kid. How do you feel about Viola Davis cast as Amanda Waller? I don't know if that's confirmed yet. I know it's been reported. So I haven't put on any new stuff that we're doing for like Frontline Live or Media Madness, just because I know it hasn't been confirmed. But just like if it does get confirmed, I think that's awesome. I think she's a great actress. Again, I hope to see How to Get Away with Murder soon, and I think she could play a perfect Amanda Waller. And I like that she's like not too skinny, like not the fat Amanda Waller, the large Amanda Waller. It's like kind of like in the middle, and I think she has like a good shape as Amanda Waller, and I think that's important too. So yeah, I think she's a good pick. Okay. Next, what is your opinion of Spider-Man One More? This I've talked about a lot, Tevia. One More Day, and do you think that Spider-Man One More Day maybe retcon? Yeah, I've answered this previously a lot, but I will answer it. One More Day, I don't like it. I thought it was a good storytelling up to the point where they got rid of the marriage. It was really well written, but I don't like what happened because of it. It's the best way to put it. I think I actually did a comic review of that like a really long time ago. Next, Tevia says, what is your opinion of the Pre-Nuke 2 universe? There's good stuff and bad stuff with the Pre-Nuke 2. But there's a lot of good stuff with the Pre-Nuke 2. I do like it better than New 52, but then I also like a lot of New 52 stories too. So it was good. I don't know how to answer that. I liked it. I liked it more than New 52, but I also accepted New 52. All right, next is Mount Vernon Kid. Who would you cast as Green Lantern for the reboot movie? I don't know. That is really hard. I haven't thought about it. Not Ryan Reynolds, because I never pictured him. I always say Ryan Gosling for everything, because he kind of has like that superhero look. Let's go with Ryan Gosling. I don't know if that's a good pick, but why not? Next, two-part question. What do you look for to relate to a female character? To relate to a female character. I don't know. I just look for good story. Something that you get to see many dimensions of a character, not just like, oh, I'm badass. And, I always say that. I don't like female characters that just state they're badass and don't really have anything else to them. And I think Black Widow is a big thing, not comic book-wise, but just movie-wise, where, like, everyone loves Black Widow, but, like, she hasn't really done much to prove herself except being badass. So I think that's really important, just to have a lot of spectrum of emotion, and that makes a really good character in general, not even just female character. And do you dislike certain art styles because of the women are betrayed, or how they're portrayed? So do I think like some art styles are like sexist or whatever? Yeah, I mean, sometimes I think it sucks what type of angles they do with women, but they also do to guys too. So that's the best way to put it. I think just all medium is over sexualized, and I feel like you get numb to it after a while, which kind of sucks. All right, next is from Tevia. What's your opinion of Ultimate Comics United We Stand, Divided We Fall? Just wondering because I read that book and I thought the series was okay. Just wondering. Trying to think. When I read that was a while ago. Let me look it up. Like, I know, I'm trying to think. Ultimate Comics United. I think that was Miles Morales' story arc. Pretty sure. Yeah, it was part of Miles Morales. I remember just being okay also. I don't remember it being great. I just remember it being okay. I'm on board with you, Tavia. All right, let's get to the next question. Scotty Showman, show and tellness. May you choose an object from your room and tell us a short story about it. Okay. Dunkin' Donuts hot chocolate. My mom got it for me during the show. That's the short story. I hope that answered it. All right, let's move on to the next one. Question, what's your opinion of Sony hackers and the news of and it's from Tevia, of the interview being pulled from theaters? I will not talk about the Spider-Man side of that because, again, I'm going to talk about that in a topic video. Sony hackers, I don't want to get into the political side of that either, but just talk about the interview side of it. I don't know. I don't really want to get into the political side of this. Like, I do have opinions on it, but, you know, I understand why they did it. I understand why they pulled the interview. And that's really all I'm going to say about that. That's all I'm really going to say about it because I think it gets a bit too political about the rest of the things, because this is just a very political matter at this point, especially of information that was revealed today about it. So that's all I'm going to say about the Sony hackers. But I will talk about Spider-Man, and we probably will talk about the interview a bit more in Media Madness without getting into the political side of it. All right, next question, which is from Red Wolf. Which love interest of Peter Parker did you like better, Mary Jane? Mary Jane or Gwen Stacy? Mary Jane. I'm a humongous MJ and Spidey fan. As much as I like the new Gwen Stacy, Spider-Gwen, it's always Mary Jane and Spidey, and it really sucks how badly portrayed Mary Jane is right now. All right, moving on. A-Rock, are you planning on pursuing comic book media as a career? I hope so. Would love to. Yeah, if the opportunity comes about and I can make it my career, yeah, no doubt. All right, next. Maverick Kid, who's ongoing are you most excited for? Silk or Spider-Gwen? Spider-Gwen, definitely. Silk I'm not totally excited about because I don't think she's proven herself yet, even though I do like her character. I don't think she's been able to prove herself just because of everything going on right after she got introduced. It was very quick that we got Spider-Verse. But I'm excited to see her, like, get broken down a bit more in her own series. And I'm excited for the series, but Spider-Gwen all the way. It's the same creative team that introduced her. So excited. That's, like, one of the most excited books I am for 2015. All right, next is, do you think, this is from Omnitron, do you think a Superboy show with Clark Kent as Superboy, oh, wow, that's a good question, in the Arrow Flash universe could work, if only, because it would clearly not be the Man of Steel Clark Kent. No, just because we got Smallville, you know, and the right when Arrow was introduced, the reason I don't think they used Justin Hartley as a cameo is because they wanted to stay away from what Smallville was. They want to make their own universe, show what they are, because they really were going off the curtails of Smallville. So, no, I don't see it happening because the CW already CW/WB already did it. You know, Smallville, even though it wasn't called Superboy, it kind of was. So, I don't see it happening. All right, moving on. Mount Vernon Kid says, thoughts on the Krypton series on Sci-Fi? I think it's going to be really boring from what I hear. I'm not interested in Clark's or Kal-El's grandfather, and I hated the scene from Man of Steel where they talked for 30 minutes about Krypton. It was the most boring part of the whole movie, and it's the same writer who did Man of Steel doing this show. I'm not excited for it, and I hope it doesn't get picked up because it sounds pretty boring. All right, next. Ryan H says, "Hey Kat, I was wondering if Like Father will Like Dorota will be in stores or will have have orders online." Me and Rashawn and everyone at Short Fuse Media are still talking about how we're going to distribute the comic. So I don't have an answer for that yet, but it'll definitely be online in some sort. But we're still figuring out if we're going to have comic book stores or not. So that's a to be announced question or answer. All right, next question. The Omnitron, do you think Anti-Venom should come back either as Eddie Brock or a new character? I don't know. I personally, I don't know if I care what would happen. I thought Anti-Venom was a cool character, but if he comes back as Eddie Brock, that's cool. If he doesn't, that's cool also. Just like kind of go with the flow. Didn't really have that much of attachment to the character. All right, next questions from Tevia. What's your opinion on Spider-Man Brand New Day, which is kind of connected to One More Day? Do you think that after Spider-Verse will Mayday Parker get to see her brother and family again after event? Or better yet, will 616 Peter Parker get to see Mayday Parker world during the Spider-Verse? Just wondering. So breaking up that question, Brand New Day, there's good and bad stuff from it. Not everything's perfect. Spider-Verse, you know, I hope that her family comes back, like I previously stated. I think it'd be really cool to see 616 Peter Parker in May's world, MCU universe. But we gotta wait and see. We only got a couple issues. But I hope that he could like be there for a couple of pages. All right, next topic. Next question. Omnitron, do you think Marvel should try to get more superhero shows on the actual TV channels outside of Netflix? I think it's hard because there's so many DC shows now on the other networks. I think it's working for them for the Netflix thing. I think it works for them for ABC, and they want to stay in the family of Disney. So, and you know, I guess Netflix and internet TV is the next big thing. So I think they're smart with what they're doing, at least just for what they want to have. I think stick for an NBC. I think Netflix and ABC. I think ABC Family should be utilized a bit more to get some of those teen type Marvel shows. I think it's the one thing they're kind of missing right now, especially since there's a lot of teen heroes in the Marvel universe, the Young Avengers, you know, Miss Marvel, Spider-Girl. So I think, especially with Inhumans, I think they definitely should have a Miss Marvel TV show on ABC Family. So yeah, utilize ABC Family. That's what my answer is to that. All right, next is from Tevia. What is your opinion of the state of Spider-Man on movies? I can't talk about that. Do you think the Sony should just give up the rights for Spidey? Because in opinion, I'm sick of tired of Sony. All right. So I can't talk about that. I'm going to talk about that on a topic video. And like I previously stated, I don't want to talk about it here and then like no one watch a topic video because, you know, I spent time making the video. So I'm going to answer all the Sony questions and Spider-Man questions there. And if you want a little sneak peek, we talked about it on Frontline Live, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it on Media Madness too. So, all right, next question. Are you into Star Wars? This is the real deal. Yeah, like I previously said earlier in this Q&A, I'm not into Star Wars. I've not seen all the movies, but hopefully I'll see all the movies before the new one comes out. All right, next question. Rebecca, since you're a Spider-Woman fan, would you be excited for a Spider-Woman movie? I wouldn't say I'm a Jessica Drew fan. I mean, I'm a fan of like May and then other Spider-Woman, but I wouldn't say I'm a Jessica Drew fan. Do I think she can have her own movie? Hell yeah. I think she has a really cool origin story. So I would like to see where it goes. But I'm not an ultra Spider-Woman fan. I like the character, but if she didn't have a movie, I wouldn't be heartbroken either. So, but I think she's an interesting character to have a movie. All right, next is Joseph Hampton Jr. Are you you got me watching Red Band Society. What's your thoughts on it ending? It's funny because I haven't been continuing watching the show. Once I heard it was ending, you know, I fell behind on the show and I was gonna catch up to see if it got renewed or not. And then I found out it's ending, so I was like, I don't know if I want to watch it anymore. So I'm actually really behind, and I don't know if I'll continue the show because of it. Even though I thought it was a really cool show, I just thought it was the wrong network, wrong time, and it's sad because it was a good show and I was gonna catch up with it and binge it. So yeah, I didn't continue it. All right, next. I don't know if I answered this. I think I did. What's your opinion on recent news of Sony hacks? Okay. Do you think that I think I answered this already? I think Tevi asked about the interview. I know I talked about the interview. All right, so I'm gonna skip that question because I already talked about it. All right, let's see. Oh, I think I skipped a question by accident. I think I skipped Nathan Banks. Yeah, sorry, Nathan. I think I skipped your question by accident. Do you think there should be a new creative team, or new creative direction with Spider-Man in the comics instead of Dan Slott writing the character? I like Dan Slott writing Spider-Man. I don't think he's perfect at it. I think there's, you know, a lot of character stuff that could be improved, but I like his epicness for his events. You know, I think Superior Spider-Man and everything he's done has been very ballsy in a good way. But I do think there should be a new creative team soon. I think I would like to see Dan Slott on other things. I think his work on Silver Surfer is a bit more fresh than his work on Spider-Man right now, as much as I really do like his work on Spider-Man. I would like to see him, yeah, definitely tackle different characters, because I see myself not enjoying Silver Surfer more just because I'm a bigger Spider-Man fan, but I can see that his structure is a lot better for Silver Surfer. So yeah, I would like to see him, you know, just do other characters. But I want him to have a really epic ending for his run. All right, let me see if I don't want to miss anything. I don't know how I missed that other one. All right, let's move on to Omnitron, I think, is next. Do you think DC will attempt to try another Wonder Woman series before a movie to build up more hype for her? If yes, then should she be in her own universe or tied somehow either to Supergirl or Arrow Flash? I don't think they're going to make it the Wonder Woman TV show because it'd be completely different from the movie. Again, just like the Flash, I think it would be a really bad idea to do that. So I don't want to see it. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to see a TV show for her. Just because they're making the movie, or else I would want to see it. Okay. Hevia says, what is your opinion of Greg Land as an artist, and do you think he can't draw female characters? And do you think that Greg Land is, okay, so I'm just gonna answer that. Greg Land, I don't think he's a bad artist, but I don't like his facial expressions at all. The smiling, I don't know, it's weird. So, like, he's not the worst artist I've seen, but I don't love his artwork either. And I think that all goes to facial expressions. All right, next, Mount Vernon Kid. Do you think we'll see Jennifer Walters, aka She-Hulk, in some form of the MCU? I hope so. She-Hulk is awesome. I think she'd fit more. I don't know. I think she could fit as a TV or movie character. I'd like to see. That's a character I would like to see her own Netflix show. So hopefully we get that. All right, let me see how much time we've done. All right, we still definitely got time here. Keep going with these questions, guys. Even TV questions too, TV, comic stuff, all movie stuff, except Sony and Spider-Man, because again, guys, I'll talk about that in the topic video. Even though I know that's a hot topic, that's why I'm saving it for a topic video. All right, moving on to the next question. Omnitron, since Peter became the lizard in Spider-Gwen's universe, how many other differences do you think there will be? Like if Avengers exist and other villains different? I don't know. That's what I'm excited about is these twists. It's like the Once Upon a Time for Spider-Man. So I can't tell you. I think there's gonna be a lot of twists to it. I think it'll be like, oh, I know the Avengers, but they're completely different here. It's kind of like the MC2 in a way too. It's like, oh, I know Stature, or I know Stinger, who's actually Stature in the regular universe. I know American Dream. Or I know Juggernaut. This is the son of Juggernaut. It's that twist aspect to it. So that's what I'm excited about with Spider-Gwen, definitely. All right, next is the question is from Tevia. What's your opinion of Carly Cooper? And do you want Carly to die in the main 616 universe so we don't see Carly Cooper? So I know Tevia's opinion on Carly. I used to hate her. I don't hate her anymore, but I don't want her to die. I don't know. Yeah, if she died, I wouldn't be upset. But, she's been part of the Spider-Man universe for a while now. And, she has a past with Peter. So I don't want to see her die. I think she has some good history, and I think she's become a better character. But I would like to see something happen with her. I think she's very much on the shelf now. So I don't think we're going to see Carly for a while. Tevia, what's your opinion of Spider-Man End of Earth, which takes place after One More Moment in Time? Was it? I think it was a couple of story arcs after. Do you think that we should get a new writer to bring back? Okay, so I talked about the Dan Slott thing, saying if we should get a new writer. So, do I like Ends of Earth? I thought it was pretty good. It brought us Superior Spider-Man pretty much. So it was the build up to Superior Spider-Man. So it was a couple of years. I think it was a year or two after One Moment in Time. But yeah, I thought it was good. I liked that story arc actually. But my favorite from Dan Slott is Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse. Spider Island. All right, next. Deshaun Slaughter says, what did you think of Once Upon a Time winter finale? I talked about this a bit earlier, but I'll just, give initial thoughts. I liked it. I liked the story arc where it's going, and I thought they could have ended the Frozen story arc a bit better. Next is from the other review guy. Do you feel that Roy will take on a mantle of Green Arrow during the time that Oliver is gone? I think it's actually been confirmed that he is going to do that, and I'm really excited to see Roy more in the forefront because he really hasn't been. He's pretty much like, oh, Ollie, can I do something? And then Ollie's like, nah, do it later. And then he's like, oh, okay. And then he walks away. That's pretty much been Roy's role for a good half a season now. So I'm excited for him to take over the mantle in some way. I still think Dig's gonna use the actual Arrow hood to just show that the Arrow's still alive, but I do think Roy will be that head now. Hopefully. I'm excited for that. Next questions. Olympus Comics asks, what nationality are you? I'm Italian. Even though some people think I'm Spanish. I don't know. Some people think that. But yeah, I am Italian. All right, next. Omnitron, do you think Tim Drake as Red Robin in a costume do you think Tim Drake as Red Robin in a costume like his old New 52 could work in Arrow? Yeah, definitely. I mean, if they're going to use Tim Drake, I think that costume will work a lot better than his New 52 costume. All right, next topic. Question, what's your opinion of Ultimate Fantastic Four take place before Jeff Loeb? All right, I'm not going to curse, but he has some curses here. Everything Ultimate Marvel Universe, and do you think the Ultimate Marvel Universe needs to bring back all the characters? No. So I'm going to, because there's some curses, I'm going to have to sum them up. What did I think about Ultimate Fantastic Four, and do I think they should bring back the characters from the Ultimate Universe or Ultimatum? I do actually like Jeff Loeb as a writer, so even though he's done some stuff the Ultimate Universe, I think it just shows how ballsy the Ultimate Universe is. I like that death is permanent, even though Peter wasn't permanent, and I'm still a little bit upset about that. But yeah, I don't mind the deaths. I think it's interesting that they kept that permanency because you don't see that with the 616 universe, and it's another universe. It's not your regular universe, so you could really do more. I like the Ultimate Fantastic Four. Those are really good series. And even though I don't think Ultimatum was the best story arc ever, I just kind of like the idea that you could kill off superheroes and them not coming back. So I wouldn't want them to come back. Rebecca asks, "What do you think of Kim Possible?" I think it's a cool show. I really enjoy it. Actually, it's one of my favorite shows growing up. I've actually recently been watching it because it's on late at night, or that like Disney Rewind or whatever, and I love it. I think it's one of the best animated shows out there, especially girl power show. All right. Other guitar dude. Were you shocked about the secret of Miles's? Oh, I can't. I haven't read the issue yet, so I can't tell you. When I read the comic and I do a review, I'll tell you. But I have not read the issue yet. I haven't read anything besides I think Cinderella, because I read some of my indie books and I've only read the Zenoscope book. I will hopefully read it tonight, but I have not read it yet. Night Dragon, you read Ultimate Spider-Man. What did you think of Peter and Kitty as a pairing? I thought it was cool. I actually do like Mary Jane and Peter more as Endgame, and I like that. But I thought Kitty's character has just progressed so much in that universe, and I did like them as a pairing. It really evolved her character because she was paired up with Peter. So I thought it was cool. It was actually the reason why I got Ultimate Spider-Man was because they were together. I was like, oh, Kitty's in this series. Like, what's going on here? And then I got into Ultimate Spider-Man and read back issues. So that's how I got into the Ultimate Universe. So, and it's important, definitely. So I really like the pairing, but I like Mary Jane and Peter as Endgame. All right, next is Omnitron. Do you think we should see Hal Jordan show up in a potential Arrow TV movie special as Green Lantern? Hell yeah, I would love to see that. They've been putting a lot of little Easter eggs, and even the writers for the latest Green Arrow issue have Green Lantern there, and a lot of things they've done in that series are kind of Arrow-related, like Mia Dearden, who's actually Thea in the show. They've done a lot of things they wanted to do on the show in that comic. So I would love to see Green Lantern. I think it's possible after we've seen the Firestorm effects. But Arrow wants to be grounded, so would they have that? I don't know. But I would love, love, love to see it. All right, let's move on next topic. Question. The other guitar dude. What's your favorite season of Power Rangers? SPD for the win. I have a lot of favorites. Mighty Morphin's great. But my ultimate favorite is Dino Thunder. That's definitely the season I tend to go back to. I actually really like Jungle Fury. I like In Space is really good. But definitely Dino Thunder is number one. All right, next is Green Eggs and Cam. What's your thoughts on Constantine show? I really wanted it to be good, and I wanted it to be, but it feels like it's lifeless to me. I only saw the pilot. I didn't have time to watch it after, and it just didn't interest me. And it just didn't seem like my type of show. I know people that love it. I don't like it. I don't. It's not my thing. It's just, I've never liked the darker stories. So I agree with you. I don't know if I wanted to like it either, though, but I gave it a fair shot. All right, next questions. Okay, Tevia, what is your opinion on Peter Parker being alive and kicking? Because in my opinion, I'm so happy that we could finally have Peter and MJ finally have a happy ending, at least in my opinion. What's your, or I talked about Ultimatum, but so the question for Ultimate Peter Parker, I've answered this too. I don't want to go over it again, but quickly, I will say that Ultimate Peter Parker, I don't like that he's alive. I love Death of Spider-Man, and I think it kind of ruins that story, because that powerful story is because he was dead, and he was finally like dead. You can't do that in 616, but you could do that in Ultimate Universe because it is another universe. So I'm kind of upset. I feel like it's a cop-out. As much as I think it's a good story, like, you know, Mary Jane and Peter being together, he already gave the mantle to Miles. I kind of feel it's pointless. So I'm a bit upset about it, actually. All right, next. Omnitron. I think someone also asked about the. Oh, okay. I'm actually going to go to the other review dude and then go back to Omnitron just because it relates to the question Tabby asked. Do you think Ultimate Peter Parker will get a spinoff to see what happened with him and MJ? Now that he is alive, I kind of would like to see a spinoff and be less of a cop-out actually using his character. I think it'd be smart just like kind of continue the Ultimate Universe because there's only one title right now. And call it like Ultimate Peter Parker, just like they have Ultimate Miles Morales, the Ultimate Spider-Man, or Miles Morales, the Ultimate Spider-Man. I think it'd be smart just kind of continue this universe if they want to. All right, so going back to the other questions. Omnitron, okay, here's a question with a twist. If a superhero, a masked vigilante, existed in the Avatar universe, how do you think everyone, especially Korra, would react? I don't know. I feel like if they did an Avatar, it'd be kind of more of a joke than anything. Be like, oh, this kind of masked crusader, he has bending. Because that's the thing, like, everyone has bending, so is there really superheroes? Obviously, not everyone. There's people that are mortal, and that's what season 1 of Korra was about. But most people have bending, so I don't know if superheroes would have the same effect in the Korra universe they would, or Avatar universe they would in, another universe. So I think Korra would kind of laugh at it. It's like, why are you wearing that? Like, you have bending like the rest of us. It's like, oh, what's, maybe it's a different type of superpower, but I don't know if it really works in the bending universe. Next question. A-Rock, for the Captain Marvel movie, do you think it will be completely in space or a mix of taking place on Earth and space? I think it's going to be mostly on Earth for a while because it's our origin story. I think we're going to get a lot of space story with it. But you have to know that she's from the Air Force. Like, they have to plant down who the character is. So I think most of it's going to be on Earth, and then maybe they'll go to space to figure out, oh, who are these people that gave me these powers? And learn more about the Kree. But and maybe learn more about the original Captain Marvel, which I think will be really fun too. But yeah, that's a really good question. I think we're going to learn more about the original Captain Marvel with the space story. This is me just coming up with it now because I haven't really thought about it. And then we're going to get to see the side of Carol's story. And again, I'm just so excited. Oh, this is going to be awesome. So that's where you should have 2 Captain Marvels more than like Ant-Man, who has 2 Ant-Mans, which I don't know that's needed as much. All right, next question from Omnitron. How dark do you think they'll go for Power Rangers movie Lion Gate? This is actually a debate me and Jay have had on Media Madness / Frontline Live because Jay thinks they just worded it differently in that they're going to have just a regular Dino Thunder. It'll just be a movie continuing the TV show. I personally think it's going to be like the nostalgic series we have been seeing where we'll see like a revamp of like the Smurfs. Not saying it's going to be that extent, but it's going to be a revamp of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I hope it's darker. I would want to go see the movie just because it would be less of the silly Power Rangers and more of the superhero aspect. So I really hope they make a good Power Rangers movie where it is a serious, I don't want to say dark, a serious movie about the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And more realistic. I don't even want to say serious. I would say more realistic and less, like, campy in a way. All right, next is John Cool says, why have you never liked Batman Beyond? I just never did. I don't know. I just really never liked kind of the feature-telling story, the storytelling. I don't know, it's just a character I never really connected to. Or universe I ever connected to. All right, next couple of questions are from Matt Burning Kid. This is his last questions, and congrats on completing your finals. Thank you, Chris. So some questions he asks: are you happy about Static series as I am? I hope it's not Milestone. For some reason that sounds wrong. I hope it's not based on the Milestone series because I think that was a lot darker than the TV show was. And it really wasn't the Static I liked. He's just a totally different character. He didn't have Richie. Well, I think he did have Richie, but he was a completely different character too. Rita had a different aspect to her character. So I hope they go more the route of what the cartoon was or a good balance of what Milestone and the cartoon was. I don't want to be too dark. And I think the original series was very dark. But I am very excited just because it's Static, so hopefully it's good. Number 2, so Sky's MCU version of Quake, your thoughts? Yeah, I've talked about this in my topic video, so I'll quickly say this and also talk about this on Frontline Live and Media Madness, but I think it's awesome. I like that she has an offensive power instead of a defense power. So I made a joke on Frontline Live saying, like, I wouldn't want her to be, like, really good at computers. It's like, oh, yeah, she was good at computers, but now she's really good at computers. Like, I wouldn't want that. And I was a little afraid that was going to be her power. But I'm glad it's a power that she can use in the battlefield and really fight with. So, and really explore with and be fearful of. It's not, like, in her mind or she can't age. It's something that every day she has to deal with. And I think that's an interesting thing about her power. And really dealing about being different. Like, even though she doesn't look different, she knows she has this thing inside of her that she could create earthquakes and be harmful to people if she can't control it. So I think that was a really good twist. All right, next question from Mount Vernon Kid. Oh. Okay, for some reason, I escaped the thing by accident, so let me go back. Okay, it's loading. Going. All right, here we are. Which I also have to reset. Get more questions because it seems like I missed some. Hold on. Okay. Now I'm back. Okay. So the third question is, do you think Reina in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. became Marvel Cinematic version of Tigra? I do. I know some people are like, no, it's not Tigra because she doesn't have like the lizard hide. But I do think it's Tigra. I think, you know, the eyes look pretty much like Tigra, so I think she is. Next is who you watch. All right, do you watch the Robin Hood TV series? I don't, but I should because I love archers. So maybe one day I'll watch Robin Hood. All right, next question. Last question. Your thoughts on retconning established history example of Magneto as stated in Axis 7, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver and his children. Or not his children. Yeah, I heard about that because I'm not reading Axis, so I heard about it. I think it's stupid, especially like the retcon of Batgirl that came out of nowhere. I like to explain retcons, at least Axis explained it, but I don't think that's gonna fly. I don't like it. I think it's stupid. Thank you, Chris, for those questions. I think I saw more questions. Let me just make sure. I mean, I know there's more questions, but just like hidden questions. Hold on. Yeah, here we are. I answered about the, this is like also about the Hobbit stuff. I already answered about the Hobbit. This is Tevia. Also, what is your opinion of Assassin's Creed series? So pretty much, what's your opinion on Assassin's Creed? I don't play the game. Like I said, I don't play many video games. I've never played Assassin's Creed. This is from Omnitron. Do you think it's weird that DC went through all the trouble of renaming Captain Marvel to Shazam and trying to push him so hard as a major Justice League member, yet he doesn't have his own series? Thank you, Omnitron. I totally agree. I personally don't mind the name change because I got into Captain Marvel because of the New 52, which is weird because I really love his character now, but it took me so long to get into his character. I don't mind the name change. It's a name, whatever. But I agree. Like, why did you push him so much if you're not doing anything with him? Like, they had this epic Jeff Johns story, but where's this series? Where's this promised series? So, yeah, I think Jeff Johns needs to make a Shazam series. It needs to happen. And I want to see the Marvel family. I want to see Mary. I want to see everybody. Just let's see it. And I actually like the new Marvel family, too, like the new characters that are added. I want to see all that. Give me a Shazam series. So good question. All right. One more hidden question. Tevia, what's your opinion of the video? Okay, so this is about the video game industry. Like I said, I don't know. I don't play as many video games, so I don't really have an opinion on video games that much. All right, let me just make sure on the bottom there's no questions. Okay, it doesn't look like there are. Okay, good. Like, sometimes there's replied questions that I don't get those because I'm looking at it as they come. Okay. Next question is Night Dragon says, if you could bring all comics together into one book with characters representing one aspect like Marvel and DC, Doctor Strange, Doctor Fate, or magic. Okay, so bringing those all together. I don't know. I don't know what the question is really for that one. If I could have a book to see them all, I don't know. I always get these questions. I don't know about like combining Marvel and DC. I never really think about it. So I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. Next is from Tevia. What's your opinion on Ultimate Spider-Man? Oh, Volume 17. Okay. So from the trade. And Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 18, Ultimate Knights. I didn't really read it in trades. I mean, at this point, I actually did read in trade. So I guess I could give you from volume. I love those stories. So just pretty much, what do you think about those two? Ultimate Clone Saga is really good. I don't remember Ultimate Knights like from the top of my head, so I can't tell you like from that volume. But I just because Ultimate Clone Saga is such a big series or a big story for Ultimate Universe, I can tell you I really enjoyed it, and I really like Jessica Drew of the Ultimate Universe. All right, next is A-Rock. Some franchises, such as Harry Potter and even the Marvel movies, have had success getting darker with each film. Is it possible DC Universe and even Arrow can do the opposite and get lighter, since this has been a big complaint with Man of Steel? I think we are going to see that with Shazam. I think it's actually called Shazam. Maybe it's called Captain Marvel. I think it's called Shazam. The movie is going to be. I think we're going to see a funner element for that film. In Arrow, I think has gotten lighter. Like, if you watch season 1, it's a much lighter show than it was. But I don't want to be super light, even though I think Oliver is a lighter character. I kind of like kind of the darker undertones, because you have Flash to have a lighter series and more comic book series. But I do think DC, I don't want them just like get lighter for every movie. I want to be like, all right, well, this movie needs to be darker because this character is darker, or because this element's darker. And then this needs to be lighter because this character and element's lighter. So I don't want them like just gradually become lighter because the fans are telling them to. I want them to be creatively getting lighter. That's what best way to put it. All right. Next, let me just see. Yes, okay. We have time. The other, yeah, definitely keep asking those questions. My voice is starting to crack a little, but I am very much enjoying your questions. Okay. Other review dude says, have you been enjoying the Hawkeye book? Did you like they spent a lot of time with Kate? I love that they spent a lot of time with Kate. And I love the Hawkeye book, but I hated the delays. And I think that was the biggest complaint, because like I forgot what happened in the Hawkeye book because it's been such a long time since that series has come out. And when they did separate, I do think it got a little bit more on the downhill side. I think especially in the Hawkeye, like the Clint part of the story. So yeah, I don't know. Delays are really, I think for me, a big part of why the series went down a bit. But I still love the series. And I love that they focus on Kate. She deserves the focus. And I still think Kate needs to have a story arc about her parents. They're still never really fleshed that out. And I think that's such an interesting dynamic, that she's a rich girl who's a superhero. And her parents, I've never even seen her parents mention if she's a superhero or not. And she doesn't really have a secret identity. So I would really like to see that dynamic, which we've never seen yet. Hopefully Jeff Lemire does it. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Green Eggs and Cam. How do you feel about the Suicide Squad casting? I'm personally excited. I think Will Smith deserves to not be an awful movie. Viola Davis will own as Waller. I don't know if it's confirmed as Viola Davis. I think it's reported. I'm not sure. But if it is confirmed, definitely give me the link for that. But yeah, I hope she's Amanda Waller. But going back to the other casting, I feel like I talked about this a lot too. I feel like I've over talked about it, but I like it for most of it. Some of the actors I don't know, so I can't really tell you, but I really don't like this. I don't know if the Suicide Squad deserves a movie. I don't know. Like, I hope they do it right. And with the Joker, I hope he's not in the movie that much. Like, as much as I think it's great that Jared Leto is going to be the Joker, I hope they focus more on Harley, and I think that could make this a really good movie. But I did not like the Suicide Squad in Arrow. And I've never been a fan of just telling the villain story. I've always been a fan of more the hero story. So this is going to have to do a lot to impress me. All right, next. Scotty Showman. Who wins the award of most enjoyable show on Sunday night this season, in your opinion? Revenge, Once Upon a Time, Walking Dead. I would go with Revenge. I think Revenge has been on top of its game. And just improved tremendously in season 4. Walking Dead, I thought, lacked this season, and I think it's been lacking for a while. And I've talked about this on my reviews and everything. I feel like they just use death now as just a shocker because the story hasn't progressed in a really long time, and I think that's a big problem for The Walking Dead. As much as I like the character development, I think they focus on it too much. They need to progress that story, and it's taken them a really long time to do it. I think a lot of people are still loving it, but that's just like kind of making me less interested. Once Upon a Time is more of a fun thing, you know. Do I think it's a perfect show? No, I don't. But it's more of a fun show, and I just think Revenge did a lot more this season and improved a lot more. So I would go with Revenge. Omnitron. Do you think Ant-Man will become Giant Man in the cinematic universe? I don't know. Well, he's really old. I think Michael Douglas is playing Scott Lang's. I mean, not Scott Lang. I can't think of his name right now. Original Ant-Man. Not Scott Lang. I can't. Hank Pym. Don't ask me why I had that mind block. I don't think they're gonna make him a superhero. I don't know. I mean, just picking Michael Douglas in a superhero movie as a superhero, don't think we're gonna see Giant Man. Picture Michael Douglas as Giant Man. I don't know if I want to see that. Jay said, "LOL, the never-ending Power Rangers debate." I think we're gonna have that debate until it's officially announced of what's going on with that movie, and hopefully soon. It will be a never-ending debate, though. All right, next. Red Wolf says, have you ever read any of the Batman Court of Owls issues? Actually, no. Surprisingly, I didn't get into Batman until this Batman series, at least, the Scott Snyder one. Somehow, I just had the first issue, never had a chance to read it, and then I just lost track, and I couldn't get into Batman until Death of the Family. So it was right before that. I did not read Court of Owls, even though I hear it's great. One of these days, I'll get the trade for it. All right, let's move on to more comments. All right. Oh, we got some hidden ones here. And they're from Tevia. Tevia, question. What's your opinion of Tim Drake? I talked about this, but why does DC Comics hate Tim Drake's character? And why can't Scott Lobdell get fired from Red Hood and the Outlaws? I agree that I've talked about this earlier during the podcast, during this live show, but I don't like the New 52 Tim Drake. Again, you can check out my thoughts about that. I don't want to repeat myself. And I don't read Red Hood and Outlaws, so it doesn't really affect me. So I did not really like Scott Lobdell's run for Teen Titans either. All right, this is from Omnitron. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has established that Inhumans are their mutant stand-ins. So do you think the Marvel somehow managed to get Wolverine? Do you think they'll make him an Inhuman, or the idea he's an attempt of another super soldier? I didn't hear him, if they managed to get Wolverine, yeah, I think they try to work it in. They would probably do the Inhumans thing. But if they got Wolverine, they probably get all the X-Men. Why just Wolverine? Unless, I don't know how that would work. But if they just got Wolverine, let's just say in this circumstance, I think they'll probably make him an Inhuman or something. All right, next. All right, already did the One More Day thing. What's your opinion of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and what's your opinion of Planet of the Apes series? I just, started watching Planet of the Apes with the new movies, and I love them. I think they're great. I think they're fun blockbuster movies. Again, are they movies I would rewatch? No, but it's fun, theater experience movies. Next, Tevia. Next question from Tevia. I was going to say next, Tevia. Next question for Tevia is, with your own comic series finally funded, do you think that your comic will ever go mainstream, and will you get a crossover with your story like Invincible? Just wonder. That's a good question. I hope. Hopefully it's, popular and people like it. If it does, that'd be cool. Okay. So that's all the hidden ones. Let's go to... Hopefully we got more here. And we do. For some reason it just didn't update before. Omnitron. Do you think it's weird that DC went through all the trouble of renaming Captain Marvel? Oh yeah, I already answered that one. I think it was just repeated. Other review dude. If you could have any superpower, this is another one I get every Q&A. What would it be? I always say flight, even though I'm scared of heights. Maybe I wouldn't be scared of heights if I had flight. I think it'd be pretty cool. All right, next question. What do you think of Humberto Ramos as a penciler? I really like his artwork. I know people complain because it's kind of artsy. it's kind of abstract, but I really like his art. He's always my favorite artist on Spider-Man. All right, next question. E-Rock, tennis. Do you think the lack of secret identities in MCU take away from the MCU? Do you think Daredevil will add a new dynamic because of this? You know what? Yeah, I think it does. I'm a sucker for secret identities. I love when secret identities are revealed. I think it just gives this whole other aspect because you get to see their normal lives. You get to see that relatable side. And I think with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's less of that relatability. It is more about like this epic story. It's more about the superhero aspect, which is understandable. But that's why I'm excited for Captain Marvel, like to see those beginnings. And why I think Iron Man is such a good movie is because, or the original Iron Man is such a good movie, is because you get to see that normal life of Tony Stark and how he became a superhero. And all the other superheroes we have are characters that don't have a secret identity. So that's actually a good point. Maybe that's why, I don't get as excited for the current Marvel movies, or at least they're not rewatchable for me as much as I love the theater experience. I don't know if I'll be like, oh, I'm going to go watch Guardians of the Galaxy again. It's a really good point. Next, Green Eggs and Cam. What's your all-time favorite comic story arc? I don't know. I like a lot, I like some of the Spider-Girl stuff. Like I said, my favorite Spider-Man one is Spider Island. I would say you have to go like character by character to say which one's my favorite for a story arc. Those are always hard because you got to think about like everything you read. That's a hard question. Next, I missed a new Batgirl retcon you reference, unless you're referring to the cured paralysis thing. What happened? I'm talking about like the current Batgirl series, like the few issues after Gail Simone left. It's pretty much a retcon. She's become a totally different character. She's in college. There's some plot points that don't make sense. So for the past 2 or 3 issues, the series has been retconned, I would say. So that's the part I don't like. I don't mind that, she's not Oracle again. I honestly like her as Batgirl. So I just think she became a totally different character with the new creative team. Other review dudes asks, how long have you been reading comics? Like I stated previously in the beginning of this, I've been reading comics pretty much all my life. My dad got me into comics. I don't remember a time I haven't been reading comics. Next is from Green Eggs and Cam. If you had the power to make a movie or TV show of any comic book property, which would you choose? Spider-Girl. That's easy. I actually had a TV assignment I had to do for school, making a full-on 15-page proposal of what TV show you would like to see in the next season. And I picked Spider-Girl. So I have all my ideas of how I would make a Spider-Girl TV show. And where it would go, who would be behind it. All right, moving on. I think I'm going to go to 2-hour mark or around there. So let's get some more questions, and we're going to not start wrapping up, but soonish. Right, here's some more hidden ones. So yeah, just kind of get more of these last minute questions in now as we go on. Let's just keep going on with the questions. All right. Question, what's your opinion of Starfire's character in the New 52? I haven't read Red Hood and the Outlaws at all, so I don't really have an opinion on it, but I don't hear great things about it. Omnitron, do you think the Inhumans have a better potential than X-Men in the movies due to the fact that they have more lore to them and are a lot more sci-fi? I personally like X-Men more than Inhumans, and I think that's why I don't like the Inhumans as much, because they're so sci-fi and less grounded. But I don't know. I think because it's the Marvel name in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Inhumans are going to do better. But if the X-Men were part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they would do better. Next is from Tevia. What's your opinion of DC Comics Marvel upcoming events? And do you think, yeah, I talked about this a bit, pretty much actually about Secret Wars and Convergence. I talked about this a bit in the beginning. I'm excited for both of them. I'm excited to see what they bring. All right, so that's that. Let's see if we got any more questions. Let's see. Loading. Yes, we do. Okay. There's actually a lot more. It's just that they didn't upload. Okay. Other review dude. Since Thursday is one only day without a comp-based show on it, can we now consider Thursday to be the worst day of the weekday? Yeah, I think we can. I used to love Thursdays too because it used to be like Vampire Diaries when I liked the show, and I feel like there's a lot of different shows on Thursdays. But yeah, there's no comic book shows. Totally agree. There is one. Right, next. Tavia, I already answered that one. Don Cool, have you ever watched any reviews from the Nostalgia Critic? I actually have. I have seen. I think he has a really cool reviewing style. I've actually seen more of the Nostalgic Chick. I think she has a really cool reviewing style. And I think it's less of the energetic, like Nostalgic Critic's kind of like all over the place with his reviews. Like his voice and stuff. That's just the way he does his reviews. And Nostalgic Critic Chick is a little bit more calm about it, but I think she has pretty much the same reviewing style of it. So yeah, I've seen both of them. I think they have some cool reviewing style. Miko Pella asks, what city do you live in? I am from New York. Hi, Dragon. So I think my question confused you. Sorry about that. You said you never read anything with crossover, right? Sent you a pic on Twitter. All right, let me just see what you meant by that. Let me see. All right, I'm looking on Twitter. Maybe this will help with my question. Oh, so like just, oh, okay. So, so you're asking if I would like to see more of the crossovers? Yeah, yeah. So I don't know, with the crossover DC Marvel stuff, if it happens, that'd be really cool, but I'm not expecting it. All right, next comment. Justin, do you think the producers, writers of The Flash might take over the Flash comic like what happened in Arrow, Green Arrow recently? I don't think so. I mean, I think Vendetti's got that going. I don't think it's perfect. I do like Buccellato and Manapul's run a lot better, but I don't think he's gonna get rid of that any longer. Just like he's gonna be on Green Lantern, sadly, for a while. But I think it would be really cool, and it could improve the series a lot if they did do that. All right, next. All right, answered that already. Omnitron, do you think that, oh, I already answered that. This is a very long name. Shadow Omega Azora anime Power Ranger lover. Do you like anime? I actually got that question earlier, and I guess I repeated. I don't know. I don't want to really repeat questions. I'm going to just say I answered that earlier in the Q&A. What's on your Christmas wish list? Other review dude. I don't know. I always tell everyone to surprise me. So I say get something comic related, get something superhero related. I like the surprise. That's on my wish list. Be surprised. A-Rock X, who's publishing Like Father Like Daughter, so I know where to look for it. Short Fuse Media Group is publishing it. If you are a backer, you'll already get the comic. If you're not, then I'll let you guys know when and where you could buy the book. This is Jay's comment. Captain Marvel was changed to Shazam because of the copyrights. Okay, that makes sense. DC can have the name Captain Marvel within the book, but the title cannot be since Marvel owns the rights to the name Captain Marvel. Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. You don't want to confuse it. And, you know, it makes sense that it's Shazam. Again, I don't care about the name change. All right, let's see if there's any more questions. Oh, there's some hidden ones. All right. Do you watch Adventure Time? I do not watch Adventure Time. I hear it's very good. Yeah, so I've not seen Adventure Time. This is from Tevia. What's your opinion on Boyhood? I think it's a really cool aspect of the movie. I've not seen it yet, but Boyhood's about like these, you know, famous actors who made a movie for 10 years and you see them grow up. I think it's a really cool aspect. So Yeah. One day I'll watch it. Tevia, what's your opinion on Batman Beyond? I've answered this already. Do you think we'll ever see a crossover with Spider-Girl? So I'll answer the Spider-Girl thing, but I already did answer about the opinion on him. And would you do a crossover? I don't think we would see a crossover with Batman Beyond. I think it would be hard enough just to see a Spider-Girl story. I don't think we're going to see a Spider-Girl Batman Beyond crossover. Unless we had like this humongous DC Marvel crossover where like every title's crossing over, but I don't see it happening. And would I, if I had the power to make a crossover? Probably not. I don't like the character that much of Batman Beyond, so no interest. Next is from Tevia. What's your opinion of Marvel comic event from MC2 universe called Last Hero Standing? What's your opinion of Prenup 2? Wally West coming back to Prenup 2 universe. I didn't hear anything about Wally West coming back. I think we're just going to have the regular Wally West. Send me a link if there's something about that. I know you've asked that question a couple of times on Frontline, but I don't know anything about the Wally West of Prenup 2 returning, so I didn't hear any about that. But your other question was what did I think about Last Hero Standing? I didn't love it, actually. It was okay. It was cool seeing everyone together, but I liked the regular Spider-Girl stories more than the event. All right. Let's see more questions. There's still some hidden ones here. Okay, here's another one. Have you ever seen the original Mad Max trilogy? If not, does the new movie look interesting? I've not really heard anything about Mad Max, never seen it, so no opinion on that. All right. All right, loading. All right. Loading again. Loading. Gotta get these questions. Here we go. New first. There we go. All right. Got more. What's my favorite food? The other review dude. Buffalo wings and chips. That's my favorite. Chips of all kinds. I love chips. You've probably seen that on Frontline Live if you watch it. And buffalo wings. I love buffalo wings. Not really a sweets man. All right, this is from CO397. Sorry if someone already asked this. What do you think about Superboy coming back to Teen Titans? No one has asked that yet. So I don't know. I don't really like Connor of the New 52. So if they make it like real Connor, which I don't think they will because just the tendency of this new series, I think the new series is a lot better than it was, but still not really that great. I'm still like sticking with it to see where it goes because it's not bad stories, just like not great either. But yeah, I don't really have any thoughts on it because he's not the Connor I like. I mean, the Teen Titans in general, the New 52 kind of bug me, but it's I guess another topic to talk about. Other review dude, do you think we'll ever get a new Ultimate X-Men book? I love the last story, last arc they did. I hope so. I really liked it too. I think the reason it didn't do so well is because you really needed to know the Ultimate X-Men. I remember just me and Jay were reading the book because even though people want to get into it, you just need to know the history of the Ultimate X-Men. If you didn't, you would have been really lost. So I hope they do. Do you like the snow? No, I hate the cold. So I do not like the snow at all. And that's from CO397. Right. Green Eggs and Cam. Do you cry in the middle of the night about Young Justice being gone? Because I sure do. Do you think it could ever come back? I don't think I've ever cried in the middle of the night because of it. But of course I would love the show to be back. I think, you know, because it's been gone for so long, I've gotten used to it. But I would love, and I would be extremely happy if it did come back. All right, this is from Scotty Showman. What is something that you learned about yourself this year that you think you'll carry on with into the next year? And how do you think Hidden Cloud Heroes channel can reach another level in the future? What have I learned? I don't know. I mean, I guess I learned that I was able to make my own comic book, which is really cool, and that takes a lot of patience. So I've learned to have more patience than I thought I did. And where do I think Hayden Claire Heroes Comic Uno is gonna go to take the next level? I don't know. Just keep doing what I'm doing and just coming up with more ideas. And I'll talk about what's coming up with the channel after all the questions. All right. Next is the Night Dragon. So what is your take on variants? I know you mentioned the Kitty Pryde one. Well, we knew the issue. Okay, maybe I'll have to go back. Which I've seen for $30 around the line. So much money. That's the thing. Like, variant covers are just so much money. That's like the only one I could think of that would actually pay that amount of money to get. Just because I think it's a really cool cover. But I don't like them because, like, why am I spending $30 on a cover? It's the same story. So I'm not an advocate unless it's, like, really nice. And that Kitty Pryde one, really the only one I can think of that I feel like I would spend money at the time. I feel like it was, like, only $14 back then, and now it's $30. I don't know if it's worth $30. Maybe one day. All right. Let's see. More hidden questions. All right, this is from Omnitron. Have you ever read Rat Queens from Image? I read the first issue and didn't really like it. It wasn't my thing. Question, why can't we have Young Justice back? Because in my opinion, all right, so you cursed more here, so can't say it, but pretty much you just said you don't like that Young Justice got canceled. You know, it's TV. Things happen. Was upset, and am upset that Young Justice got canceled the way it did, but that's entertainment industry for you. There's a lot of shows that I like that got canceled and can't do anything, and it's sad. But hopefully one day we'll get Young Justice in some shape and form. All right. Why is this not clicking? Gotta reload it. All right. Now I'm going back to it. The hidden questions. Loading, loading, loading. Here we go. I guess because more are here. I already answered the last standing one. This from Omnitron. Do you think DC took the idea of the new universe, so anything goes, took it too far? I don't know. I never really thought about it. I don't know if they took it too far, because I think they would have done it even if it wasn't a new universe, the things they've done. Omnitron, have you read Valiant Comics? If not, highly suggest Archer and Armstrong. I have a couple. I've actually got like a really good deal from my comic store. I got a lot of free comics from them from Valiant, just because they have like this big special. But I haven't really had a chance to read a lot of them. And it looks like you have to really know a lot about the universe to get into their books. So I think that's the hard thing about Valiant. Why I haven't been able to read a lot of their books. What's your opinion on Spider-Man Clone Saga? Introduced Ben Reilly. I mean, I didn't read it at the time, obviously, so I'm not as upset as the people that did read it at the time. But, I understand why people were upset about it, because they said Peter was a clone, pretty much. So, but I think Ben Reilly is a really cool character. That's from Tevia. Tevia, what's your opinion on the Ultimate Aunt May in the Ultimate Marvel Universe? I really like her in the Ultimate Universe, because I think she's more of a strong-willed character and actually has a lot more to do. I think Aunt May of the 616 Universe should have died a while ago. I don't really see her purpose. I think she's outgrown her purpose. So yeah, definitely Ultimate Universe Aunt May, I understand why she's there, and she's a much stronger character there. All right, let's see. All right, going back. Oh, more? Okay. More back. Okay, here we go. Mother Review Dude, have you read Sex Criminals? I read the first issue, and I liked it. I just kind of fell behind on it. But one day, hopefully, I'll read it. I think the title is very misleading, too. I mean, it's not misleading, but I think that's why a lot of people didn't end up picking up. But it's actually a really well done story. Olympus Comics of What Happened in Random Situations. The thing is that I didn't have enough time to do it, and I had to shelf it just because I had a lot of stuff, and I do the channel with my brother, and it's kind of harder now to take the time for both of us to be in the same area and do it. So it's maybe one day we'll get back to it, but at this point it's just really hard. But we love doing it at that point, and it's still there for you guys to watch those old episodes of Motherverses. That's why I still mention it all the time too. Other guitar dude. Okay, the other guitar dude says, "Have you ever procrastinated on a review?" Yeah, I have, definitely. I procrastinated. I don't know about the newer comics, but yeah, it's happened. All right, oh yeah, I've actually already answered. Oh, I answered both of these from Green Eggs and Ham X. What did I think about Apocalypse? Oscar Isaac and Star Wars. I answered both questions already. Jeremy Renfro asks, since Invincible is getting so crazy of late, what do you think, and how do you think that Marvel and a few heroes left are going to try to take down? And seeing Thog's secret, how bad are you think will impact? I mean, just everything that's happened. How do you think this will impact the Invincible universe? I love where this is going. I love that it's so tense right now. I don't know where it's going to go. I can't tell you. I'm excited to see the family aspect that Invincible is building, and I'm enjoying this title a lot, even though it gets delayed a lot. Right. Next is from A-Rock. Would you rather have a small, intimate channel with a small and close community where you can interact with everyone, or a large commercial channel? You know, I want to say I just want to build up my channel as big as possible, but I'm always going to communicate with my audience. You know, this is why I do these Q&As. Why I always answer comments is because I love talking to you guys. You know, that's the point of the channel, is just hearing everyone's opinions on things I love, and seeing what everyone else thinks about it. So I don't know if I can answer it, but I want to see my channel grow. You know, I don't want to see it like, I like the aspect that I'm allowed to communicate with everybody, but I also want to see my channel grow over the years too. Ami-Sean, have you read Valiant Comics? Yeah, I did that one. Night Dragon, what's the most used plot line in a story, and how do you bag and board your single type of bag and size? My least favorite plot line, I don't know. My least favorite. I'm sure if it comes up in a comic, I'll tell you this is the least favorite I have a plot line. I can't think of it right now on the top of my head. How do I bag and board my comics? I don't have anything around me now, I don't think. Let me see. You know, this actually is a perfect example. Someone sent me this. Hopefully I'm going to read this weekend. This is usually how I bag and board it. I don't add tape, though. I usually just have, like, the flaps up. You can actually check my collection video to see that. All right, next. Other guitar dude. I finally got Netflix today and watched Young Justice. Does it weird anyone else out? I have a season 2 picture on their Young Justice page. I never noticed. I guess so. I don't know. What is your opinion of Teen Titans Go? I think it's garbage, like Ultimate Spider-Man. This is from Tevia. You can check out my Teen Titans Go review. I'm going to just say that. And I've answered the whole thing about Ultimate Spider-Man a lot. Kind of tired of talking about it at this point. There's some topics I talk about and I get a question a lot about. And sometimes I'm just like, I just don't want to answer it anymore. And Ultimate Spider-Man is probably one of them because I think it's just the most frequent one I get. And, you know, I don't love the series, but I understand why they do it. So, yeah, that's probably the one I get a lot. But, yeah, Teen Titans Go. Definitely check out the question and the review for it, my episode review. I think you guys have a laugh for that. CO397, if you could pick 2 new books to relaunch in DC, what would you choose? Stephanie Brown and Shazam. All right, let's see if there's any more. All right, so we're at the 212, so I'm going to probably go to 230. All right, Amitron. What's your take on Deadpool, and do you think it would be hilarious if Marvel and Fox had to share him, since he could acknowledge he exists in two movie universe? I think it would be hilarious. Let's see it happen that they both could share him, which I think it's just Fox who owns them anyways. But yeah, I'm actually really excited for the Deadpool movie. Even though I'm not a Deadpool fan by any means, I just think this movie could be hilarious from the test footage we did get. What's your opinion on marriages in comics? That's pretty much the big question. Okay, so that's a question from Tevia. What do I think about marriages? Marriages, I hate that there's not a lot of them in comics, and I think there should be more. Okay. Let's see. So yeah, definitely a last minute question, guys. So just put those in. All right, here we go. CO397, did you read Wonder Woman issue 37 today? I have not read any comics besides Cinderella yet. I heard what happened in Wonder Woman, and actually the reason why I bought it was because of that. I wasn't going to even buy it, and then I was like, all right, I got to buy Wonder Woman. So before I went to the store, I thought in my mind. Usually I get my pull list, so I just got Wonder Woman. So yeah, I heard what happened, and that's the reason I got it. But don't spoil it, because again, it's just Wednesday, so a lot of people haven't read their comics. I have not read my comics yet. After this, I will. But yeah, I'll talk about it, obviously. Other guitar do. What do you do for fun other than reading comics, of course? Watching TV, no. I don't know. What do I do for fun? I really do love my media stuff, hang out with friends, family. And that's fun to me. Definitely. Doing the YouTube stuff is fun, but I love my entertainment stuff. What else do I do? Yeah. So I would say, hanging out with friends and family is definitely, pretty fun. Okay. But I love my YouTube stuff too. This other half I've already answered. But Tevia, what's your opinion on Ultimate Mary Jane over 616 Mary Jane? My opinion is that I like 616 Mary Jane more than Ultimate Mary Jane, but they're pretty similar. I didn't like the art style they used for Ultimate Mary Jane for a while either. Looked a bit weird. Other review dude said favorite breakfast cereal. Honey Nut Cheerios. Next is from other guitar dude. Do you feel as though they've dumbed down Peter Parker, especially when he once rivaled Dr. Octopus? We literally just talked about this on Frontline Live, actually. I do think they've dumbed down Peter, and it's a shame. A-Rock, how do you stay up late? Sometimes your reviews are uploaded at midnight. How do you do it? Midnight's not late. I don't know how I do it. Well, because my reviews, I do it at a time where I'm off the next day, so I'm able to do that. Now at this point, I'm off for like a month, so I'm very happy about that. But yeah, I just get a lot of work done during the night. I'm more of a night bird, a night owl than I am an early bird. So I like the night more than the mornings, definitely. It's where I get most of my work done. The other review dude. So what is your favorite season of Teen Wolf? It's hard. I would say season 3 was my favorite. I would say season 3B. Green Eggs and Cam. Did you ever watch Spectacular Spider-Man? I've not actually watched every episode of Spectacular Spider-Man. I have seen the show, and I think it's great. And I should binge the whole series. This is the other review. The other guitar dude said, "Do you think the ultimate?" Here's Cat complain. Think I'm gonna walk away now. I'm sure you're gonna talk about like Ultimate Spider-Man. I agree. I don't know. I just like it's just that's the show. I get so many comments about Ultimate Spider-Man, and just like I've talked down. That was great. All right. There are some spam questions. Not spam, but like hitting questions. All right. Do you think this is from Omnitron? Do you think the Marvel add Ghost Rider into the cinematic universe? If not, do you see them adding Blade? Blade more than Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider has failed so many times. I do not see them touching that franchise. Final question. Did you miss DC's Elseworld and all the crazy and cool takes they came up with? I don't know if I read it. I'm trying to think. Maybe I'm just like not recognizing the name. Hold on. Oh, you mean like just Elseworld stories? Okay. Do I miss them? I feel like we already get them. Like Earth 1 is Elseworld stories. So I think we've gotten them already. So there's nothing to miss because you're still getting it. Oh, you're talking about like a series or something. I was like, oh, I don't think I've ever heard that. All right. Next question. Night Dragon, this is just a comment. If we get a Batgirl show, hope it's Stephanie Brown. Me too. Even though, like, I would really like to get a good Barbara Gordon portrayal, which we have not gotten yet in live action, at least live action. I would really like to see a good Barbara Gordon live action portrayal. Will Marvel get Spider-Man or Cher? And this is from Delanto Green. Again, I'll talk about that in the topic video this week. Do you play an instrument? And it's from the other guitar dude. I do not. I really do like music. I'm not the greatest singer in the world, but I love singing. But yeah, I do not play an instrument. Not musically talented. Maybe I am, and I just don't know it. All right, let's see if there's any more. 200 comments. That's awesome. All right. What's my favorite novel from the other guitar dude? I really don't read books that much, so my favorite novel. I really liked can't think of the name right now. Lord of the Flies. I thought was a really good book. Classic book. Army Renfro. Since Teen Titans Earth 1 was good, what other characters would you like to see Earth titles? I mean, Wonder Woman was freaking announced a long time ago and it still hasn't happened. So let's see a Wonder Woman Earth 1. I think she deserves one. All right, next. Have you seen The Ultimate Spider-Man? I'm sorry, resist. Actual question. What's your #1 favorite comic book movie? Green Eggs and Cam. Spider-Man 2. Love that film. Not The Amazing Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2. That's a movie I can watch over and over again. Have you seen the LA Birds of Prey TV show? I have. I don't, yeah, it's not great. I've seen it. Take it for what it is. Favorite genre of music, the other guitar dude. I would say alternate rock. It's definitely something I really enjoy. All right, so I've probably said this many times, but get your last minute questions in. I'm going to talk about what's coming up for my YouTube channel as these last minute questions are coming in, and then I am going to end the show. But let's talk about what's coming up for the channel as these questions are coming in. That we can end around like the 2.5 mark. What's coming up? I'm hoping there's some TV shows coming out in January I can review. I don't know if I'll definitely review the first episode of Agent Carter. I don't know if I'll be able to review that just because it conflicts with Frontline Live. I hope I can review Pretty Little Liars. Definitely want to review Chasing Life. It's a show I really enjoy, and it's on Mondays now, so I could actually review it. So we'll see what happens with that. Bidden, when that returns, I'm going to start reviewing that. Of course, all the shows that actually return in January, Arrow and all that, all the regular shows I'll review. But yeah, so that's coming up review-wise. Frontline, we have a lot of cool stuff happening, so keep up with that. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Media Madness is tomorrow at 10. We're going to be talking about Superman Christmas episodes, and we're going to be commentating on two. The Lois and Clark Christmas episode, in Smallville, which is one of my favorite episodes, their Christmas episode, Gemini. Really enjoyed that episode, so go check that out. So that's going to be cool. What else do we got going on? So that'll be the last Frontline, the last Media Madness live show we're going to have for 2 weeks, and then we're going to have some really cool episodes coming. We're going to talk more about that Media Madness, but 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. Check that out. We have a award show coming up soon, so look forward to that. And then, my channel for reviews this week, it should be up either Thursday or Friday afternoon. I'm trying for Thursday. I got to read some tonight, though, to catch up and get some reading done. I am trying for Thursday, just because I have something to do Friday, so I'm going to do that. And yeah, just kind of expect those things. In the comments below now, as we get these questions, tell me what you want to see on my channel. Hopefully we get to those 6,000 subscribers soon. That way I could do another Q&A like this. And yeah, so just tell me what you want to see on Comic Frontline and my channel as we end this Q&A. So let's get those last minute questions in, see what's going on. And thank you guys for sticking with me for this Q&A. I hope you guys enjoyed it. There's one hidden. Tevia, I can't. Tevia, I'm sorry, can't join the Media Madness Christmas episode just because it's a commentary, and we usually don't have outside people doing commentaries with us. Just it's kind of hard to have guests with commentaries. So, but when we do have a show for you, we'll definitely let you know. If we ever do a viewer show, especially. Final question from Tevia. What's your opinion of Ultimate Green Goblin, Ultimate Venom, Ultimate Carnage? So every ultimate character to their counterparts. Ultimate Green Goblin is so different from his original from the 616 character, and I think he's really intriguing. So Ultimate Venom, Ultimate Carnage, again, they're just all very different from their 616 universe characters, and I like that aspect about the Ultimate universe in general. All right, last minute questions. Let's see. A-Rock, for the comic book reviews, are they going back to Thursday now that the semester is over, or will they still be Friday? That's actually something I was thinking. Thank you for bringing that up, because usually I do move it to Thursdays when that happens, but I kind of like the time to read them for Fridays. So I think they are going to stick for Fridays. It's just that this week, it's not going to work. If it keeps conflicting with Fridays, I might move it back to Thursday. But at this point, I think I'm just going to keep them on Fridays. It just gives me more time to read them and just like really relax and read them. So I think I am going to keep them on Fridays. Very good question. Yeah, if you guys have any questions about the channel, let us know. Me now. I don't know why I said us. Green Eggs and Cam. What other YouTube channels do you watch the most? All the comic book stuff. All my friends that I watch. Just again, all friends, all their YouTube channels. But like other like big YouTubers, Black Nerd Comedy I watch. Katie Wilson. I don't know. Community channel I watch. I watch some vlogs here and there. Josh Sunquest I watch. Fine Brothers, Shaytards, Boyfriend versus Girlfriend. Yeah, so I watch, some popular YouTubers out there too. All right, other guitar dude. Do you feel like Jimmy Hudson could have his own solo story, like him trying to be more like his dad in the universe? Yeah, I think Jimmy Hudson is definitely a strong enough character, but just with the Ultimate Universe, I don't know if they would give him a solo series. But I like seeing a miniseries with him. I think that'd be cool. I love the Ultimate X miniseries, so something in that vein would be really cool. All right, gonna refresh. All right. Nathan Banks, congrats on finishing the semester, Comic Uno. I finished mine as well today. Awesome. Congratulations, Nathan Banks. What happened in X-Men where the part of the MCU? What would happen if they were part of the MCU? I don't know. I think they would have to revamp all those characters again. That's something they would have to do. So yeah. E-Rock, these are always fun. I really like the Q&As. That is awesome. I'm really glad that you do. That's always the best thing to hear, that you guys enjoy it. All right, next is Delanto. When the next Comic-Con, will you have a booth for your comic book? Actually, I'm trying to get a booth for special New York Comic-Con. I'm thinking about doing that. I don't know if I'll have a New York Comic-Con just because there's so much to do. I don't know if I have a time to like have a booth too. But I am definitely going to try for special New York Comic-Con to have a booth for like Felt Like Daughter. You said you like alternative rock. Who do you listen to? This is Greg, Green Eggs and Cam. I'm going to say go check out my topic video I did like a month or two ago about top 25 songs that I like. And you can see what type of artists I like. All right, next is... I think you answered this. How does one join an on-air hangout for comic chat? Night Dragon. Like if you have your own channel, just go through Google Plus and you could make your own comic chat. So yeah. All right, we'll see if there's any more. Especially if there's any more comments about what you want to see on the channel. There's some more hidden ones. Final question. Did I answer this? I don't know. Final question. The Ultimate Universe, Marvel Universe ever had a crossover MC2? Would you write it someday? Just wondering. Hey, I would love to write it. Anything dealing with MC2 and 616 or anything dealing with May. Love to write it. That was from Tevia. It's from Other Guitar Dude. Congrats on finishing the semester. You were a big inspiration as I entered my first semester of college and tried to manage my review channel on the Other Review Dude. That is awesome. That's always great to hear. And I'm glad your first semester went very well. I remember your question. I think it was around August you asked stuff about college. So I'm glad it went very well for you. All right, next, favorite con. This is from TV Little House Comics. New York Comic-Con. I mean, I love San Diego too. Actually, I don't know. It's between San Diego and New York Comic-Con. Both are awesome. And I've been to San Diego twice. It's just been very hard to get back and get tickets. Scotty Showman has said, I think the idea of Comic Frontline doing a show to help out new YouTubers is an awesome idea. Thank you for doing this. Now get out here and go read those comics. That is a great note to end on. Thank you guys for joining me for this Q&A. Hopefully I could do one very soon. Maybe as the break goes on, I'll do more Q&As like this. I can't promise anything, but hopefully I can, especially if I get to the 6,000 subscribers quickly. I'll do something for 6,000. So thank you guys for joining me. I'm going to go read some comics, relax a little. So thanks again for joining live, asking all these great questions. And you can still ask questions in the comments, and I'll try to answer them. And again, if whatever you want to see on the channel, Comic Frontline and Comic Uno, let me know in the comments. So this is Comic Uno. See you guys later.